You down? You down with AIP? Yeah, you know me. Anything is possible to create. The key on the mic, I'm the truth, no fantasy. Podcast flow, old school vibe guaranteed. AIP, every listener knows. Breaking barriers, smashing the foes. Convos deeper than a philosopher's prose. We planting seeds, watch how it grows. Jumped on the beat like a classic cassette. Late night talk, the vibe you won't forget. Dropping wisdom gems, the grind is set. Every story told, ain't no limits met. You open the mind, the world opens wide. On this podcast, real thoughts collide. From the cooks in the kitchen to the suits we chide. Dreams get bigger when the truth's supplied. Sip on success like it's poured in a mug. Real talk, no BS, no need for a shrug. In your ear like an anthem, snug as a hug. Tune in, feel the buzz, plug after plug. AIP, every listener knows. Breaking barriers, smashing the foes. Convos deeper than a philosopher's prose. We planting seeds, watch how it grows. AIP, every listener knows. Breaking barriers, smashing the foes. Convos deeper than a philosopher's prose. We planting seeds, watch how it grows. 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 Deep in the swamp where the secrets lay thick. Whispers in the shadows, they hit like a brick. Talking with the moon, got the stars in a twist. Truth or illusion, the facts get dismissed. Talking with conspiracy, whispers in the air. Truth in the trenches, but who really care? From the dirty south where the legends get made. Stories in the dark, watch the shadows parade. Slick tongues spin tales like a spider on a thread. Hood prophets preach knowledge while the streets stay fed. Voices echo deep where the rivers don't flow. Lost truths buried under where the cold winds blow. Heavy bass thump, got the block hypnotized. Mysteries unfold under blood-red skies. Voices in the static, they creep through the scene. Street sermons spill truths, but they cut like a guillotine. Talking with conspiracy, whispers in the air. Truth in the trenches, but who really care? From the dirty south where the legends get made. Stories in the dark, watch the shadows parade. Blueprints of chaos in a world so deranged. Every word they speak got the vibe feeling strange. From pyramids to projects, the stories collide.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Absolutely not. Uh-oh, come on, get the cam going here. Damn technology. Let's go, Cam. We're working on it. But welcome everybody to the AIP channel where anything is possible, even with cam issues and who God only knows. Bam, working. I forgot my call and I should have been an IT person. I used to be for my old company a lot of times. They have people call me. What's up, sweets? What's up, Watt Life? Appreciate y'all popping in here. Check out the Rumble. Make sure Rumble is rumbling. It's supposed to be. It's being slow. I know that. Rumble is being slow. It says it's live. That's just good. It's being super slow. There it goes. All right, cool. I'm gonna accept it as live. All right, we got us a. Let me get rid of that too. We're gonna have us a fun show. It is gonna be a. If y'all want to call in show, if you want to call in, the link should be in the description. If I did not put it in there, it should be. If not, let me know and I'll get it in the group. I'll put it in the group chat. So if y'all want to call in, make a thing. So it's going to be, so we can get started and have fun. We got lots of stuff to go through. And of course, at the end, make sure you stay till the end if you can, because we got lots of feel good videos at the end. So get that positive energy before we cut off. We got to make sure we do that. So make sure you stick to the end, like and share, repost on the Rumble. I would repost, but it's being stupid. I'll try it again in a second. But I appreciate y'all popping in here. It'll be interesting. It's all over the place on Twitter is all over the place today, and just the stories of everything going on. It's a wild one. It really is. We'll start off the show with part of the title, and start off a video with a start off on there, and let's see. There it goes. Man, this thing Hoover's being slow. All right.
You saw that where 14 missiles were shot at us
Let me get the volume up.
the other day. And they were very nice. They gave us warning. They said, we're going to shoot them. Is 1 o'clock okay? They said, it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the base, so they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our equipment. Amazing stuff. Amazing that they can do. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. It's the same thing if you think about it. 14 out of 14, and they weren't even that surprised. I said, "Do you do that well often?" They say, "We pretty much do, sir." The Ukraine crisis has also highlighted the urgency of rebuilding. You saw that where 14 missiles.
So, yeah, I'm kind of with them. What they gonna tell them exactly? I mean, is it? Sometimes Trump, talks sarcastically and stuff like that. So is he being? He being for real? They told him exactly what time, what time it was, and gave him ample. It's just like, hey, we're going to make a showing kind of deal. Thank you, James, and thank you, Sweets. Yeah, the link is in the description, and we got James checked the Rumble and YouTube and said everything sounds good, so that's awesome. Good to go. Good to go. Yeah, again, it makes me feel like it's just a show. It's kind of that I put on the title of Kayfabe. It's kind of like wrestling, and it's like professional wrestling. Hey, this person hates this person, and right now, and then they're their buddy, and goes back and forth. But behind the scenes, they're really actually cool, and it really is kind of it fitting to politics. Brother Dave from across the pond. What's up, Brother Dave? Dave's Waffle House. Y'all got to check him out. He got a great entertaining show every day at 2:30 Central Time in the afternoon. I think I got some of the videos that you shared today too, Dave, in my list on your Twitter. I shared this on Trump. So they called him Daddy Trump. Yes, they call me Daddy. Yes.
From Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you Daddy earlier. do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No,
But do you
he did
regard-
it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that? But do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own without?
I think they
the
need
United
help a little
States?
bit at the beginning. And
Yeah, for the ones that don't know, NATO. We'll get into a clip in just a second. Like, yeah, NATO has actually approved from going from only paying 2% of their gross, profit for the nation to actually paying 5% instead of the United States booking most of the bill and paying for most of the protection of the world. We got the other nations are going to chip in a little bit. Everybody but Spain don't want to play ball for whatever reason. They want to, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that pretty soon. They want the free ride, what Trump said. I play this funny video here from my internet.
The foreign leader on mute and says,
Let y'all listen. It's kind of funny.
and the president looks over at me, puts the foreign leader on mute and says, "This is not going very well," and he presses the red button. and my eyes get really big, and I'm like, "Mr. President, what just happened?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Nuclear." Nuclear. And 2 minutes later, a guy walks in with a Diet Coke, and he looks back at me and he says, "It wasn't nuclear, it's just the Diet Coke button." And that's... So that's the kind of guy, and my fellow Republicans, that we have as the President of the United States. And the President looks over at me,
It would be pretty funny. He'd kind of like all of a sudden, oh shit. But I wonder, if he does have a button, a button for nukes, like where is it pointed at? Most likely probably Russia or China or North Korea, but who knows? It's kind of a messed up video. It's crazy. If you watch any ladies basketball, the WNBA, I don't understand what this lady said wrong for them to turn around and.
Well, they disagree with you. They do, and I disagree with them, and that's fine. That's what makes America great, right, Pantmore? I should rephrase that. Yes. But yeah, I did think opinion are perfectly. Yes, fine. That's a better way to say it. Sorry about that.
I guess because Trump says make America great again. Somebody says America is great. The producers have to get in their ear and go, wait a minute, hold up. We can't say that kind of stuff. That's kind of messed up. That is what makes America great. We can't have a difference in opinion. We can all have like, hey, we agree. We don't like this. We like this. Hey, I like this. On all kinds of things. We can agree to disagree. We don't get stoned for it. We don't get thrown off buildings for it. We don't get sent in prison for it. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse, but because it's crazy that going through these videos. Yeah, somebody did some leaking, and they're gonna find who it was.
They took bits and pieces from a leaked top secret intelligence report. And by the way, I understand the FBI is investigating who was the source of that leak because it's an illegal leak to CNN. And this is the same fake news CNN reporter who wrote the story alleging that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, which we know is one of the greatest political hoaxes this country and the American public have ever seen. And that CNN story does not change the facts. There was a total and complete obliteration of Iran's nuclear facilities. And because of the president's strike, because of the precision of our United States military and this perfectly executed mission, Iran no longer has the capability to produce a nuclear weapon as imminently as they did prior to the strike. The American people and the world should be grateful for that. And it's disgusting that CNN and the New York Times are disparaging not just the president, but our brave men and women who helped conduct this highly successful operation.
What kind of consequence could the leaker face?
They should go to jail. They
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I should go to jail. Which, yeah, I mean, that kind of information, if it could have caused soldiers to get hurt or blown out of the sky for sure. Kind of makes me wonder though, with everything going on over there, did they already pretty much put it up and say, hey, we're going to do this? And we talked about it on the lunch show. Is it a possibility? There's a few folds you could do. If we're just looking for nuclear weapons, well, there's other countries that had nuclear weapons. Why wouldn't we deal with them? Shut that down, or for whatever reason, is Iran? They're worried about Iran getting the AI technology up to like we are, since we're opening up nuclear power plants to power AI systems. I don't know. Throwing theories and conspiracies out there. That's why this is talking with conspiracy, because we're gonna throw some conspiracies out there. And as always, anything is possible. They could have for sure done that. They could have done anything. With the crazy strike back on the United States, on the bases over there, and we kind of knew exactly what was happening. I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, that's all it is hey, this is a way. I also said another thing for throw it out there for everything is up and up. This is a way for Trump to go, okay, if they have nuclear capabilities, but even though they've been saying it Israel been saying it for 30 years, they're 6 weeks away, they're a few months away, they're this and that. Well, they just put them back in the Stone Age of nuclear with the holes and bombs and the destruction. I seen one video where somebody was crawling down in a hole and stuff where one of them bombs blew up. It was incredible how big that hole was. It didn't even show the bottom. It just showed right there where the ground level where it went down, and it was insane how big a hole they put in that sucker. So maybe that is the reason we gone ahead and struck. Like, hey, if they do have nuclear capabilities, they don't have no more. Now Israel can't say shit. Say, hey, they got the possibilities there. They say it again, they're full of shit because we just blew everything to hell. And that's what I think hopefully that's all the reasoning behind that. Checking chats, keep going back and forth. The batshit bonkers lady right here. I like this lady. She's funny.
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Brit. I'm in the dodgy bit of London, where Trump has come out swinging like a silverback gorilla, saying that Iran and Israel don't know what the fuck they're doing, and has started using caps locks in his tweets, which means we know it's serious. In terms of people who don't know what they're doing, all eyes on the people of New York City who are about to elect a hard-left Muslim mayor. Have they not seen London? Have they not seen what Sadiq Khan has done to this city? Just look around you to see. Maybe it'll give you a taster of what you're about to get. In other news, Palestine Action is now a proscribed terrorist organization. Predictably, leftist MPs and various other woke tards came out and said, "Oh, we're all Palestine Action," with their black and white tea towels all over themselves. I mean, if you're all Palestine Action, darlings, then you're all terrorists, and ideally we'd deport the lot of you. And finally, my darlings, we're told that there will be slavery debates in Parliament. So people who've never owned a slave will pay money to people who've never been a slave, which makes about as much sense as giving away an island territory and paying for the privilege. That's it, my darlings, here in batshit bonkers Britain.
Batshit bonkers Britain. Let me put the reposted on the Rumble. She like and share and repost. And look at that.
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers.
I don't know why I did that. They
That's
stormed.
playing out moments ago. Demonstrators protesting the big, beautiful bill being arrested on Capitol Hill. The video shows protesters being removed by U.S. Capitol Police. Police have cleared the protesters out of the Capitol building. But we'll keep an eye on this just in case anything else shakes out.
That lay down crap. I don't understand that.
That scene playing out moments.
Just laying down. They're gonna lay a bang.
Because Brit, I'm in the dodgy.
Why is doing that? Come on, Twitter, work right. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. What's up, Matt Sal? Temple of the Owl is in the house. Double check Rumble. I ain't get nobody talking on Rumble, but Sweet's comment. It's all good. I know it's live. I appreciate the lurkers over on the Rumble. Hope you're enjoying the show. We'll keep on going up a little stream here. Crazy. We've been talking about this lately a lot for, who pays these politicians, again, they only make like $150,000, $200,000 a year, and but they're multimillionaires, and it's like, and one of the main ones, Mike Johnson, $618,000. Let's pause it right here, real quick. 618,000 American Israel Public Affairs Committee, APAC. Lockheed Martin, 63,000. National Association of Broadcasters, 41,000. So the top four, and Altria Group, and I'm not sure what the Altria Group is, but I could look them up. Yeah, top contributors. Check this out. It gets better. APAC, $473,000. National Association of Realtors, $164,000. Valero, $52,000. Cornerstone Government Affairs, $48,000. Yeah, it's a lot of money. See what this guy, Tom Ender, what's going on with him? 444,000 individuals and 10,000 PACs. 50,000 Google. Valero, here's another Valero. And there's another National Association of Broadcasters. So the news media there. Huh. I don't know why I'm not playing any sound, but that's all right. I'll do the sound. 359,000 American Israel. Apollo Global 29, Norpac 20. That's a lot of damn money. Gary Palmer, Alabama. Yeah, he's a light one. Only 33,000 there. APAC. Oh, minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries. What we got going on here? Holy shit. 866,000. 80,000 BlackRock. Which we'll talk about BlackRock. I will show a video talking about Bernie and Joe Rogan in a little while, talking about BlackRock. Apollo Global Group. And if you don't know, BlackRock is one of the three biggest corporations that own 95% of businesses. They have major stock in most 95% of businesses in the United States. And yeah, Lockheed Martin, 71,000, MetLife, 68,000. As always, what is the return on investment for these guys? $371, 33 for Google, 620,000. Wells Fargo Bank, 48,000. J Street. It's a lot of damn money. Ain't got there yet. It's crazy. Crazy how much. Oops, I didn't mean to start the video again. Crazy how much.
You better look.
And this is a crazy video right here.
When I was an extremist, Islamist, fundamentalist, I would only vote left.
Why is that?
I saw them as very stupid. I would fear the conservatives because they come with principle. That's not someone they can brainwash. But the left, I know they have no values and no principles to begin with. I dare you to find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. They'd give their vote to the leftist who wants to run around in pride parades. And Islamic extremists are against gays and homosexuals and transgenders, but they want the left to go and get busy with that. They want them, go speak about the climate, go speak about abortion, go kill yourselves, go do that. And she's fighting for abortion rights and all the other, my body, my choice. Yes, go do that, go do it. But would she have an abortion? Never. Never. Would she kill a Muslim in her stomach? Never.
What is the fundamentalist and jihadi agenda for America?
The future of America has to be Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
London, where Trump has come out swinging like a...
The Trumpy Trump. What's up, Herschel, over there on the Rumble? I agree. Come on, lurkers. Hit a little like and give me a repost. Help me out. Let's get a big group. And the more people get over there, the more you can chat and talk it up, you know. Again, for the ones who just showed up, we are having a call-in show, so link is in the description if you want to call in. you don't have to download any equipment like that. It pops up in your browser. So it'd be fun. There's a funny video. South Florida real estate agent as the New York mayoral Dem primary results come in right now. Yeah. Yeah, there's actual, let's see, where's it at? Because they're actually calling for telling all the Jews to evacuate New York City right now. I don't know if it's that one. Chief Trumpster says, "Well, I don't know about false flag in New York City." It could be because they're about to have a Muslim mayor, and Muslims and Jews don't exactly get along. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. It's gonna be a crazy world. We're about to be real quick. Saw this. This is interesting. They just had that UN Council, and they had a special.
One of the president's key objectives is that the Abraham Accords be expanded, that more countries come into it, and we are working on that on my team and in coordination with the Secretary of State and the entire State Department. And we think we're going to have some pretty big announcements on countries that are now coming into the Abraham Peace Accords. And we're hoping for normalization across an array of countries that maybe people would have never contemplated would come in. So we're excited for that prospect. That will also be a stabilizer in the Middle East.
Let's hope we do get peace. Like Tony Stark, peace in our lifetime. Maybe it is possible, because anything is possible. Hopefully, the neon cons get what they want today, but hopefully we can get something going on there. Hopefully. It's going to show some clips from the NATO. Pretty good. He's not playing over there at all.
In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, "You did it, sir, you did it." Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did. This will be known as the Hague Defense Commitment, which is pretty good, pretty appropriate. When the allies reach this number, it will add more than $1 trillion a year. Think of that, $1 trillion per year to our common defense. And this is a monument really to victory, but it's a monumental win for the United States, because we were carrying much more than our fair share. It was quite unfair, actually. But this is a big win for Europe and for actually Western civilization.
I'll play this one and I'll talk about it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And, they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. Spain is the only country that, are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain. I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain that it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all of the countries that refuses to pay. And, you know, so they want a little bit of a free ride, but they'll have to pay it back to us on trade because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's unfair to
Trump said he's getting his money. He's getting his share one way or another. You're good, James. I do understand. Miss Honeybee, glad to see you're here. I see Hiker made it over on the Rumble side. Glad to see you're here. Yeah, yeah, that's true, Herschel. You know, talking how Oliver North, who illegally sold missiles to Iran in the 80s, talking about how Iran should not have missiles. Yeah. I seen that clip the other day. It's hypocrisy is great with some of these efforts. It really is. Pause video stop. There's like a setting you can do. Make sure.
How are you?
You once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said that sarcastically.
Well, of course it was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea. Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12 days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly. We ended Rwanda and the Congo. It's coming to sign the documents. We've already signed basic documents, but they're coming, I think, to the White House on Friday. We ended Serbia was going to go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan. And that wasn't whether or not they may someday have nukes like we're talking about in the Middle East, like we're talking about with Israel and Iran. This is they have nuclear weapons. I ended that with a series of phone calls on trade. I said, look, if you're going to go fighting each other, it was getting very bad. You know how bad that last attack was. It was really bad. If you're going to go fighting each other, we're not doing any trade deal. No, you have to do a trade deal. I said, we're not doing any trade deal. And in fact, I had the general, who was very impressive. The general from Pakistan was in my office last week. You know, Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. He's a great man. And I got them to reason. I said, we're not doing a trade deal if you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight each other, we're not doing a trade deal. And you know what? They said, no, I want to do the trade deal. We stopped the nuclear war. Go ahead.
Hopefully we can continue on our path of more and more peace. Maybe this is, you know, if he's getting that's is what Trump has said from the beginning. He's wanted peace. He didn't want any more war. You know, even that strike was just a very direct, you know, all right, let's stop this. You know, like we were just talking about a little bit ago. Maybe it was like, you know, let's cut the head off the snake. If he bombs this right here, there's no way that if they do or don't, you know, they've been saying for 30 years they could have nuclear power. And now there's no way. I mean, nuclear potential for nuclear weapons, which I still don't think they did if they've been saying the same crap for 30 years, but that's neither here nor there.
There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary, a preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that dropped the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
You got a point. You got a point. What's up, Don? Hey, yeah, I'm with you, Herschel. It is easy want to believe. You know, we've talked about it on here a bunch of times with me and Dave and Jamie, and we talked about it. And like we got hope. We have hope that what they're saying they're going to do and what they want to do is what what needs to be done. But you know, Reagan, especially Reagan in his later years, he didn't even know what was going on either. Nancy was running the country, just like Jill was running for Biden. Nancy was running for Reagan. Sad but true. Hey, Miss Honeybee, yeah, fabricated conflicts. You know, it could be a fabricated. All this is to push a certain. Hey, look, we did this. Look at this, what we did, and then something gets blindsided. It is possible, absolutely. Especially with the holidays coming up and all that kind of stuff. But continue on our videos.
It was severe, they think, but the report said what it said, and it was fine. It was severe, they think, but they had no idea. They shouldn't have issued a report until they did, but we've gotten the information. I think Pete said it better than you can say it. And you know, you should be proud, especially you, should be proud of those pilots, and you shouldn't be trying to demean them.
No,
those pilots flew at great risk, a big chance that they've never come back home and see their husbands or their wives. Let me just tell you, you and NBC fake news, which is one of the worst, and CNN, New York Times, are all bad. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. You know what? You should be praising those people instead of trying to find some. By trying to go and get me, you're hurting those people. They were devastated. You know, I got a call from Missouri, great state, that I won 3 times by a lot. And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was hit. But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated. They put their lives on the line, and then they have, and I'm not referring to you, but real scum come out and write reports that are as negative as they could possibly be. It should be the opposite. You should make them heroes and heroines. You should make them really people that they were so devastated when they heard this news. And you know what they said? One of them, I spoke to one of them, said, "Sir, we hit the site. It was perfect. It was dead on. because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes. All right, in the back.
That is true, Herschel. That is true. Reagan didn't know what Olive North and the CIA was doing. They kind of kept that from them. CIA was sure enough was running rough. They were running wide open in the 80s. Drug running all over South America, and it's some fun times for them. They were freaking Tony Montana looking ass. That's the end of that thread right there for the NATO thread. I did hear this though. It had me concerned. Ask questions. That's why I show stuff and come up with stuff. I'm trying to ask.
We've
questions.
been hearing this week that World War III has been put to an end. Now, whilst everyone hopes and prays this is the case, multiple indicators seem to suggest otherwise. President Donald Trump has attended his first NATO summit since taking office earlier this year. Zero Hedge reports a number of items that come out of the NATO summit, including Trump threatening to make Spain pay over NATO defense spending holdout, NATO members agreeing to significantly boost defense spending. But the part that is largely underreported comes later in the article. NATO chief Mark Rutte has, of course, identified Russia as NATO's most significant and direct threat and reiterated full support for Ukraine, despite Washington having named China as America's top-pacing threat, and long-term main military and economic rival. Of course, the alliance has already funneled hundreds of billions of dollars into a conflict with Russia that has resulted in hundreds of thousands of lives on both sides, and all the while Ukraine losing about 20% of its territory. NATO leaders, as of Wednesday, have vowed to keep pursuing Ukraine's path to membership, with Rutte emphasizing that the question of accession was never ruled out, especially not before the war. Quote, there is an irreversible path for Ukraine to join NATO, and that remains true today and will still be true after the summit, he said. So why does it matter that NATO reaffirmed its commitment to see Ukraine join NATO, and why does it matter that we got no pushback to this? Let us take you back to an article from 2022 where Putin reminded everyone that Ukraine joining NATO could lead to nuclear war. This is from thebulletin.org. On February 8th, in a jarring answer to a question from the media, Russian President Vladimir Putin said allowing Ukraine to join NATO would increase the prospects of a Russia-NATO conflict that could turn nuclear. Putin's assertion, made in the context of a complicated hypothetical about an unlikely Ukrainian attempt to take Crimea back from Russia, came during a joint press conference with the president of France, Macron. And then they say, well, they quote Putin here, there will be no winners, describing a hypothetical future in which Ukraine had joined NATO and then attempted to invade Russian-occupied Crimea. He said, and you will find yourself drawn into this conflict against your will. You will be fulfilling Article 5 in a heartbeat, even before you know it. Article 5, of course, of NATO's founding treaty says that any attack on a NATO member is an attack on all members. This principle of collective defense, NATO says, is at the heart of its treaty. The only time the article has been invoked was on September 11, 2001, when terrorists attacked the United States. And by the way, it would appear that NATO members seem to know this too. This in just yesterday from The Telegraph, British jets to carry nuclear warheads. It says British fighter jets are to carry nuclear warheads for the first time since the Cold War era after a deal with the US. It was written before the summit took place, of course, so it's in past tense. At a NATO summit in The Hague on Wednesday, the Prime Minister will announce that Britain will buy 12 F-35A fighter planes. Unlike the F-35B jets the UK currently possesses, they can carry nuclear weapons. We also have Sky News yesterday reporting that the UK must actively prepare for potential of war in the homeland. The National Security Strategy, published today, meaning yesterday, states the UK must prepare for the potential of a, quote, wartime scenario in the UK homeland for the first time in many years. This, of course, follows multiple nations floating that drafts need to be reinstated. That list includes Germany, the UK, Australia, France, and others. So all signs point to continued unrest and governments continuing to prepare for a world war. And then we have President Tracksuit, the president of Ukraine, not a NATO member, in attendance, finally donning a coat and pants instead of his usual gym attire. But what was he doing there? Trump being probably the only one against this conflict in Ukraine, with almost all other NATO members looking to fight until the last soldier and throwing endless amounts of money at that effort also. It really begs the question, what will eventuate with this conflict? It should have been over long ago. But seriously, what was Zelensky doing there? He is not a member, and we know that Ukrainian NATO membership should be completely off the table, considering it would immediately spark World War III and/or a greater conflict at minimum, given President Putin has made this clear. It's clear that many of the warmongers in attendance still have plans regarding prolonging or escalating this conflict. So let's hope, for the sake of everybody involved, that Trump is able to broker some peace, because it doesn't look like anyone else in NATO is interested in that outcome. Are you protected in a world where the threats of EMPs, solar flares...
I ain't gonna play her ad. Answer some of the chat here. You're good, Miss Honeybee. You're good. You can say what you need to say and say whatever you want to say on here. You're good. I missed some of it. As always, I'm skeptical as a like Sweet says, there's a distraction. But now as there was New York Times and CNN were both saying that they made reports saying that they didn't think we really hit anything over there in Iran, that we really did not take out the nuclear capabilities, which maybe. But with those holes and everything, and the footage of like from over there from Iran, with Iranians running down in these holes and stuff like that, it was pretty obvious. Wherever they hit is gone. It is absolutely gone. It is blown to hell. And Matt Sal, I agree. Why can't we just get along? Why can't we just have everybody kind of peace and harmony and all that good stuff, and work together to make the world a better place instead of always trying to fight and everything? But we know the reason is because it's the neocons and it's the all the people that pay for and make the weapons of destruction. If we're not fighting wars, they make less money. So it's better for us to be in some kind of conflict. That's why, if for as long as I've been alive, it's only been very maybe a year or so we've not been in conflict. Reagan, we went in conflict with Reagan. We were in conflict, of course, Bush Sr., Clinton, George W., Obama drone bombed the hell out of Libya and all them. It's you go down the line, and it's not Republican, Democrat. It's the powers that be pushing all these big money. Yeah, like James just said, it's people want more money and more power, and they don't care what they hurt to get there. Nice. Sweet Rumble is working again. That's awesome. And thank you, Hiker, for reposting. Yeah, you get some more views and stuff on the Rumble if you repost. It has a special spot, so you don't use Rumble. And as always, while we're talking about Rumble, make sure if you don't see us on YouTube, check on the Rumble, because you never know what will happen. We might get booted. It happens. It happens. Let's stop sharing on that. on this tab here. And some funner videos and some different random different stuff. Random different stuff, y'all. All right, where's my tab? There we go. It's working. Sit up. This might be, for fun fact, this might be the last time me actually streaming here at the house. So things are moving kind of fast. So next week, we'll see where we're at. We might be at the new location, which we got part of it working over there, or we might, who knows where we're going to be at. We're going to have fun though, either way. Share this right here. This guy right here, 66-year-old man. They say it's racist or racially motivated, but he over in the UK, our friends across the pond, he started releasing rats at a mosque, which, you know, maybe he'd get a while of it. Just like, hey, this is where he was at, and he just started releasing the rats. I don't know. He was rehoming them. I don't know, but he sure opened up his little cages and shoot, and off in the grass it went. He unloaded the whole, which is crazy. He just stops in the middle of the street, like, all right, I'm gonna unload this truckload of rats right here. Wild, crazy world we live in. Wild, crazy world. A trunk load, yeah, Dom. Absolutely trunk load of rats. Crazy. What would you do if your mother-in-law DNA tested your child and without you knowing about it, and come find out that I guess her husband wasn't the father of the child? Well, check this out.
You filthy, filthy. What are you on about? You have trapped my Sean into having your baby, but not his, because I have got proof here that you have been a scheming little. No, I haven't. Yes, you have. No, you do not. How can you look at me and tell me lies to my face? I'm not lying. You're an absolute liar. I'm not lying. Yes, you are a liar. What's with that? So this is when I had the baby last week and last night. Seem to have him every bloody night, don't I? While you're off gallivanting. So I looked after him, I cleaned his teeth, and then I sent it off for DNA testing. Do you know how creepy that is? Oh, without my consent. I don't give a shit. Creepy. But you'll consent for me to look after him, will you, all night while you're out about? No, I haven't. Yes, you have. No, anyway, this came back from the DNA testers, and this says that you are the mother, and is Sean the father? Is he? No, he isn't. Some dirty skanky been out and shot somebody else, and then you come back and try to nail my son. Well, he's not falling for it. You can. I know you've never liked me, but it's going as far as making a fake. You are damn right. I've never liked you. Could just look at you. You can barefaced lie to anybody.
What would y'all? He trained him for. He could have trained him first, Monique. What's up, Monique? Yeah, it does seem a little sus there, Matt Sal. It does. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, call Maury. Call Maury. He can find out something. Either way, it is sad. Yeah, Herschel, it is sad for the kid because, if grandma is acting that way, it must be some sure enough chaos. But if her testing is true, she's protecting her son from getting food barred for 18 years or longer. It's happened a bunch of times. I know a guy when I worked at the country club. He turned around and the kids were grown. And he found out that they did some testing for I forgot how it came about, but they did some testing and come to find out he was not the father of none of his children, but he paid for them. And since his name was on the thing in Tennessee, he kept on paying for them. But yeah, wow. This is crazy right here. This man saves this woman's life, though. So, take me. See him when he gets distracted. He sees him looking away a little bit. The fortitude, the grapefruits that man had. It's pretty amazing. That's crazy, Monique. But it is possible. It is possible to have twins and being two there. It's super extremely rare. I forget what percentage of it is. It's microscopic, but it is possible to have two at the same time. But yeah, like 0.1%. You'd have to look it up and see what the chances are to having twins with two different fathers at the same time is the amount of it is ridiculous low. Let's ask Grok. Let's see what we're talking about it. Curiosity has got the best of me. What is the percentage of twins having separate fathers? See what Grocky has. Is less than 0.001% of twin births, or roughly 1 in 100,000 cases. So 1 in 100,000 has the possibility of that happening. And now you know. And knowing's at the bottom. Yeah. The you can win the lottery. Absolutely. You have a better chance of getting bit by a shark. You have a better chance of getting killed by a cow, I think, than. But it is possible. Anything is possible. But yeah, that man right there at Brave, these 30 urban videos are funny. But yeah, his kid here, he's fighting a kid with no legs as it is. But
You know, you never judge a book by its cover, and in this situation, this guy has no legs, prosthetic legs, and now what is he doing? My God, he is taking them off, and it appears he's going to go legless in this fight.
I give credit for the other kid. He gave him an opportunity to take his legs off. I guess he didn't want to be that bunch of a dick.
Guy, his opponent is looking down, go, really? Are we really going to do this? First of all, there's no way to win a fight against a guy that's handicapped because, first of all, if you beat him down and you win, you're an asshole. And if you don't win, you got your ass kicked by a handicapped guy. But in this case, I'm not going to say he's handicapped because it appears he's fully equipped and ready to go in for a takedown. My God, look at the head movement on Ronnie. Ronnie continues to move in. And now Ronnie says, what's up? What are you doing, man? What, you never seen a guy halfway in the street, huh? You ever seen that movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze? Now closing the distance, it appears he's going to shoot in for a takedown, and that's exactly what he does. And now grounding and pounding his opponent's face into heaven or hell for oblivion. And it is all over. That's all the footage they had. Unfortunately, it got cut at that point. But right here, man, this guy's like the Terminator. How gangster is that? He takes off his arms as if he's the Terminator, a product of Cyberdyne. And you can see right here, he comes in and shoots in for that takedown and immediately gets it. Major props to the kid with no legs. Came in there, handled business, stepped up to the plate. No pun intended, but immediately put the beat down when it was necessary. Congratulations to him.
That's pretty crazy. But it's yeah, you got beat up. You got beat up. What's up, Jess? Escape the Simulation is in the house. But yeah, you need to learn martial arts. If a young man with no legs and shoots and take you down and knocks you out, yeah, it's not a good day. It's time to give up street fighting, find a new hobby, be a florist, something. anything but that. Absolute. I posted this in the Discord today on For Troubled Minds.
You know,
aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now,
never judge a book by its cover, and in this situation, this
needs to stop playing. Stop.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's.
Twitter is just trying to play every video at the same time. But yeah, that's propaganda at its finest. It very well could be. And Herschel, yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too, because they did say that Iran had nuclear capabilities for the last 30 years too. So I don't know. I think that I kind of think they're going to have, there's something's going to pop up with the alien stuff though. There's been too much stuff. All of a sudden they're cool with everything. They want to push everything out, and it makes you wonder. Is it possible Project Bluebeam is on the way? That's always lingers in the back of my head. Is Project Bluebeam is the possibility. Especially with our drone capabilities and stuff we have, and especially the capabilities with stuff we don't know about. They could sure enough show some deities in the sky if they wanted to, with ease. Here's a feel good video. I said I always got to keep balance and everything. This is pretty cool. This gentleman in the white shirt had never met his younger brother.
I just got off the phone with my brother.
Yeah, he's never met his younger. I set the video up real quick. He's never met his younger brother, and I think they kind of knew about each other. But this is the video of the first meeting of these two brothers. I guess maybe Daddy was a Rolling Stone. I don't know, but I don't know the whole backstory. But it kind of is a feel good video though.
Right. I ain't never met them, never seen them in my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I just always heard about, you know what I'm saying? I always heard. So look, I just got, look, this him right here. This shit crazy though. They say he looked just like me on everything. They say he looked just like me. I never seen them. Never seen them. This shit crazy. Damn. Bro, you definitely look just like me, bro.
Damn, you my big brother, bro.
For sure.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's up, bro?
Man,
that's crazy though. I always heard stories about you, but a motherfucker just, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, was the military, man. Mom moved me away. And back in the day, bro, when I turned 18, I shot straight to the military.
That's crazy for sure. Damn. It felt like I'm looking in the mirror.
Man.
Oh, my mama. It felt like I'm looking in the fucking mirror. That's
big dog, big bro, man.
My mama, boy.
Man.
So it's good to see you.
Likewise, bro.
Yeah,
Let's
my
go.
Mama, boy. We got big things we finna do for sure.
That's what's up.
Big things. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Like the crib, man.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You hear stories like that like all the time, like when I said, especially with Daddy. Daddy was a Rolling Stone kind of deal. There's people find out their brothers or sisters and stuff and never even knew it, until later on. Like, so yeah, I had to throw in some feel good videos in there. We got to. This is kind of it's not a. We'll let it play. I'll set up the story real quick. They'll say it again on there, but this person here was stealing mail from a lady over and over again. So she got tired of it, they say, and she put a box of Black Widows on her front porch, and yeah.
Texas man is fighting for his life in the hospital after he stole a package off of a woman's front porch, only to go back to his car, open it up, and see that it was full of Black Widow spiders. This woman was tired of this man coming by and stealing all of her packages before she could get home from work, so she made a little package that was just for him. When he popped that package open in his car, a bunch of spiders came flying out and they bit him all over his face, and then he started swelling up and getting nauseous, so he had to go to the ER, and then he called the police and would like to file assault charges against her for setting up that booby trap. So the police contact the woman and they're like, did you put a decoy package full of Black Widow spiders out on your front porch? And she's like, oh no, those Black Widows are my pets. Were you able to find them? I saw that they were missing and I just have them in a box because they like to play in there while I'm at work. And the police were like, oh, this guy, he stole the box and then they bit his face and he whacked a couple of them. So they're no longer with us. And the woman's like, he killed my pets. That's completely unwarranted. I'd like to file charges against him for that.
To what I understand from another video, the story I heard from it, like She's pressing charges against the guy because he killed her pets. Quotation marks. That's a prime example of fuck around and find out. Man, Matt, so that's wild. You didn't meet your brothers and sisters until you're 18. Wow. I couldn't imagine. Some people don't realize how lucky they are really to be able to have all your, family in one household and they know who they were and grew up with them and get to make those memories with them while everybody was young. And that's wild. Actually, I know you're thankful that you got to meet them at least till then. It wasn't until late in life. At 18, you're still young. You still make a lot of memories, but I got this lady back. Of course, we talked about it before. Dang. It happens, Dawn. I ain't want to get in my story. It happens. I'll say that. I ain't getting emotional middle on live. But yeah.
Everyone agrees that countries relying entirely on offshore manufacturing has been detrimental to societies and economies worldwide. President Trump has been extremely vocal about the need to bring back American manufacturing. At the G7 meetings in Canada just last week, President Trump reaffirmed his commitment to put American manufacturing workers first. But we wonder how that is actually going to fare or how long it will actually last, given the rise of humanoid robots in manufacturing. Per Grandview Research, the global humanoid robot market size was estimated at US $1.55 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach over US $4 billion by 2030, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 17.5% from 2025 to 2030. Some forecast it could be well above that. The market growth is propelled by several factors, including the growing utilization of humanoid robots for surveillance and security, such as detecting unauthorized intrusion and terrorist activities. The humanoid robot industry in the US held the largest market share in 2024. Well, now, per InfoWars, humanoid robots to be used at Houston Foxconn plant. Humanoid robots are set to be deployed at a Houston Foxconn plant that will produce servers for chip giant NVIDIA. The deployment is expected to be finalized in the next few months, and the two companies aim to have the robots working by the first quarter of next year. According to Reuters, it will, quote, mark a milestone in the adoption of the human-like robots that promises to transform manufacturing processes. Foxconn has been developing its own humanoid robots with NVIDIA and has also trialed robots made by Chinese company UBTech. Foxconn is also building robotics for healthcare with NVIDIA Physical AI. At present, it's not clear exactly what type of humanoid robot will be used at the Houston plant or what it will do, although it's likely that it will be involved in the production of NVIDIA's GB3000 AI servers. Foxconn has been training robots to pick and place objects, insert cables, and perform assembly work, according to a video presentation the company gave last month. In March, NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang predicted that humanoid robots would be widely used in manufacturing within the next 5 years. As of May this year, Chinese automakers are continuing advancements in humanoid robots. We also have BMW at their group plant in Spartanburg deploying humanoid robots. This was as of September of last year. And Schaeffler plans to deploy humanoid robots in plants around the world. This is as of November 2024. So these are just a few of the developments in this area, and it seems to not be a widespread catastrophe yet. But with this current rise in AI, robotics, and general automation, this could be a much bigger problem very soon, as we've discussed many times on this broadcast. Elon Musk has been promoting Tesla's robo-taxi recently. He says all your media, streaming, and preferred temperature settings just work automatically when you get into a Tesla. Elon also says that robo-taxi is a mobile lounge where you can relax with a drink and watch a movie, even sleep. It's designed to maximize happiness, he says. But Musk also previously said in an interview with Ted Cruz that within 10 years, 90% of cars will be self-driving, 50% in 5 years, millions of people will be out of jobs, people will find it challenging to find fulfillment or meaning in life, and that there is a 20% chance that killer robots will annihilate humanity in 5 to 10 years. So while the rise of all of this tech might seem exciting and convenient, convenience often comes with a price. Personal autonomy and privacy are usually the first casualties. Just yesterday, HHS Secretary RFK Jr. said that his vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years. Take a listen.
Their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the Maha agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
That's the vision, everyone. Every American having every single meal and decision about their health and lifestyle tracked and traced by the government. Sounds very Bill Gatesy and would make George Orwell blush. So at what point does the end result outweigh the benefit of all of this technology? Because if we're being completely honest, the trajectory that we're on looks like millions of people out of jobs because they've been replaced by robots and AI, where most people would probably be unemployed and unable to afford the luxuries or necessities these robots and AI promise. The government is tracking everything that we do, eat, or think, and the all-seeing eye of Silicon Valley has embedded its tentacles into all of this wonderful, convenient tech that we get to observe while it observes us, unemployed and depending on a universal high income issued by the government, which of course depends on our compliance. These sorts of technologies should be here to serve us, our slaves, if you will. We're rapidly becoming so addicted to these technologies that we are becoming slaves to them. And if we're not careful, we will miss the extreme overreach governments are suggesting as these technologies continue to rise. This 4th of July, declare...
Nah, I ain't playing their ads. What's up, Jason? Knights of the Storm. Appreciate you popping in on the Rumble. Hey, Jason, if you want to call in, and it links in the description. If you want to pop on and talk about anything, we can talk about what we email back and forth about if you want. The spider vid AI. No, the spider video was not AI. That not that I know of. I've seen it on a few different sources. Hiker. It was somebody put them in a box and said hi. You know, people are tired of people stealing their packages and stuff. Like, man, we work hard for this stuff. You work hard for your money, and then you get stuff shipped to your house, and all of a sudden, then it's not there anymore. At least you can get your money back, but it's still a hassle and a bunch of BS. Matt Sal, that's a good question. He says, for the ones listening, what if the robots working is just a way for us to have the UBI, the universal base income? Yeah, I mean, there's been concerns of this for a long time, because if you turn around and start using more AI, use more robots, you need less and less people. You need one person. You could have 1-2 people per building. Absolutely. I almost went work for they didn't want to pay me what I wanted. You don't see the Riverside link in the description on Rumble. All right, sounds good. Sounds good, Jason. if my description don't have the, just let me know when you come, when you do that, and when it come, I'll put it in the chat. It might be missing over here. I don't know how in the world it would be missing. I thought I copied and pasted the whole thing, but it happens. I'll get it over there for you. Be glad to have you on. Since I'm running solo tonight, be glad to have you on. My ADD brain there, but yeah, I mean, because we talked about it, and when you were turning around and with technology and people want to hire minimum wage, and you're going to keep pushing the minimum wage, which I agree. You know, people need to be able to work. You know, they shouldn't have to work 5 jobs to live and be able to afford an apartment or anything like that. Absolutely, positively. But the bad thing is when we start messing with minimum wage, I don't think we need to mess with minimum wage. We just need to have raises. We need to have wages up to where they need to be. But when you start messing with minimum wage, then you start adding to inflation. Then you start adding to companies using less people, trying to get more out of people, and then you turn around. Yeah, Miss Honeybee says minimum wage and is $20 an hour in California, which a studio apartment in California is what, $2,000 a month or some crazy stuff like that. How much is a studio apartment in California right now? Not even a bedroom, just a bed. Curiosity there. You know, they're looking at robots. So you already got fast food, but you got them kiosks in the front, and they won't serve you. You know, people need to be able to survive. They need to be able to do things. When we start messing with it. Okay. Yeah, I know I've seen some. It's been a long time since I've been in Cali. I was 3. So, but yeah, I've only heard stories. So yeah, I can see that. Even in big cities and stuff like that. I mean, still, I know studio apartments like around Memphis, or you're looking at, you know, $600, $700, $800 a month for a studio apartment. Yeah, it's 7 something around here, sweets. I agree, Miss Honeybee. With it's one of them. It's like a double-edged sword. There, like the greedy people do need to be able to have some compassion and give back a little bit, and maybe drop that profit margin area where they want to be. But they do have a lot of, the thing about it is, that's who we go for jobs. We go for rich people. We don't get jobs from poor people, because poor people, poor people don't hire people because we didn't get the money. But it's hard. It's a hard subject to handle everything. And where people have billions of dollars and you got hungry homeless people. And the bad thing about it, though, the homeless population is a double-edged sword too. There are some people out there or down in there and homeless because of situational, and because where did all my viewers go? It just went down, so I had 1. I know that's BS. We, all enough, because I now see more than that talking in the chat. YouTube is messing with me right now. You got people out there that want to be homeless. I mean, and because if you on one note, if you think about it, the homeless people are only the true free people, because they don't have to worry about, and they don't have to, all they got to do is wake up and find them something to eat, and they find some place to sleep, And they get up and the next day they don't have to worry about none of the 9 to 5. They don't have to worry about nothing. $2,100 for a studio, Massal. Holy hell. $2,100. Back in let's see, 8, 10, was it 14, 15, 2015, somewhere around there? Maybe what it was. Let me see. Let me back figure in my head here. Go back 6 years, 5, 11, yeah, about 14, 13, 14 right there. I was paying $350 a month for a studio apartment, 300 square feet. It had the smallest kitchen you've ever seen in your entire life. Like if you were a healthy sized person, you were not fitting in my kitchen. You sure weren't walking straight in. You probably ain't walking sideways in that thing. I kept my bicycle in there, and it took up most of the kitchen. I'll tell you how big it was, and it was $350, which is crazy, But now I seen the other day, looked it up, and I think it's like $700 a month, but still $2,100 a month for a studio. 900 2-bedroom near Houston, full of red mold and black mold, and yeah, that's I'd rather live in a box than have black mold and everything. Let me come swap back over here to the Rumble chat real quick. 40% of homeless people actually have jobs. That is true. And some are actually trying, and they just, you get in a certain rut, and you get in a hole because like apartments, you got to have, for like that average studio there around Matsal, okay, you're gonna have to have first and last month of rent, so that's $4,200. You're gonna have to have money for utilities. You're gonna have to have $5,000-6,000. Ooh, he just says mortgage is $5,000 a month for a 3-bedroom house. Holy hell! I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost 1,700 square foot house, and with paying with taxes and paying, the city taxes and all that, and state tax, paying the taxes every year, and insurance and the mortgage payment all tied into one is $1,000, $1,054. I couldn't imagine paying $5,000 a month. And that's not even utilities. The housing has gotten ridiculous, and the utilities are astronomical too. Holy sh! Almost made me speechless right there, Mass Al. That almost made me speechless. Let me share this right here. Jamie's throwing, even though Jamie's not here, he's throwing lots of videos towards the chat. So we got some. He gonna throw some stuff for us. Plan for Gaza is a technocracy and cashless society. Like them 5-minute cities, 15-minute cities and stuff. They're trying to do the same thing with that all around the world. They're in the United States, and they want that 15-minute cashless. They're all right here. Pretty much, you don't have to have a car. The concept of it is nice, but yeah, but you have no way of getting out of there. Plus, they also with Gaza, they want to do a new canal going through there to ship oil, because the what is it? The Suez right there is so narrow. It's bottlenecking the production, so they need a new area and so they actually want to run a port right there. Of course, they're not going to do it while there's Gaza. No problem, Jason. Sounds good. I'll be on for a little while. I mean, I know I'll be on for another hour. Or, hey, if everybody keep listening to me ramble, I'll keep on going. And if whatever you need me to hang out for another hour and a half, or you pop on here for a little bit, I'll do it. We can swing some stuff. If everybody keep listening to me ramble, we can do it. Yeah, it's the apartments over there, $1 million for an apartment. Yeah. And then I think we're about to have, I kind of think we're about to have another housing bubble again because all the prices of these things. Sounds good, Jason. I'll be an honor for me to come over on your show and talk. I had fun the other day in the chat. I wish I could have stayed focused on the chat, but I was busy painting. But man, it'd be an honor for me to come on and give my insight or whatever I can. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt they're trying to keep a lot of people down. Let me share this video. Jamie just sent that. Let me curiosity. Maybe it is. All right, let me share this real quick. I was just kind of halfway fact checking it. Using Grok fact checking real quick since we're live and I don't got time to really go, but looks like they're going with the alligators down in Florida. We heard reports of it before.
Starting next month, 5,000 migrants will be housed in trailers and heavy-duty tents at this remote abandoned airfield.
As I call it, Alligator Alcatraz.
In a promotional video set to music, Florida's Attorney General lays out what he considers a deterrent for any potential escapees.
People get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons.
But some local officials warn the environmental impact could be devastating.
We have environmental and physical stewardship and safety concerns.
The Trump administration has said it wants to get up to 100,000 beds at detention centers across the country. Starting next month, 5,000 migrants.
100,000. It looks like you. I remember back in the 90s. I had to look and see. I think I did. I know I've been all over the place today. Sweets. I'll have to look and see. If it's in Discord, it's in Discord. So I got it. I got Discord turned off right now for it won't eat all my memory. No, I understand what you're saying, Miss Honeybee. Saying they deliberately keep and the chosen ones down, but not like religiously sense, but like the ones are like certain people they're trying to keep down. That's a good question, Don. Where are they putting the waste and everything? I mean, I guess they could be doing treatment centers, but they got tankers right there. But it reminds me like when in school, when schools were max capacity and stuff, they bring all them little trailers in. You'd have to go classes in trailers and shit. But like you got prisoners in these trailers right here, or how is it Like, I'm curiosity, you know, what we got going on here? Is this like it's cell to cell? Like, is that the door? Like, that's locked, and then each one of those is a cell. Like, there's 5 cells with multiple people in there, or is that, you know, or is there multiple cells inside of each block? I mean, it had to be pretty well enforced too, or somebody if it's just like a mobile home trailer, hell, or like them trailers like for they had for school, how they'd just knock a hole through it. Yeah, that it is a lot of folk for no infrastructure. Is curiosity, or is it just is it for show? You know, I mean, they have an airport they can fly.
Hence, at this remote.
Oop, I'm not trying to do all that. I was just trying to pop around. You know, at an airport they could fly people in.
Attorney General lays out.
I'm not trying to
Alligators and pythons.
not play the video. I just want to pop around.
And fiscal steward.
This administration has said it wants to get.
There's different clips over here. It makes you wonder, you know. Look, you got, yeah. Where's the infrastructure? Where is the, you know, where are the facilities for the bathrooms for sure? I mean, I know they ain't marching them out. Maybe that's I don't know what that is. I wonder. Interesting. Interesting that they're already doing that. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, Herschel, what could go wrong? Alligator, Alcatraz, and migrants. Absolutely. What could go wrong? Show the other videos Jamie sent. Here's one. That's a video or just a thing? It's talking about auto pen presidency, testifying before House oversight. Former Biden aide Neera Tanden admitted she controlled the president's auto pen from October 2021 to May of 2023, authorizing documents as Biden during a time when questions about his mental fitness were growing. Pardons, executive orders, official actions, all potentially signed by someone who wasn't the president. So who was running the show? And I seen they had that hearing the other day at DC, and lots of the Dems, lots of Democrats did not show. They didn't even want to even try to put themselves out there to show that they, I guess they wouldn't have to be on record. Yeah, I could see that, honeybee. That it could. I mean, it could be a absolutely a show to say, "Hey, look what we're doing here," or is it for numbers? Absolutely, because you know, there are. I mean, even if it, you know, even if it's not CGI, I mean, if you really wanted to look at it, like they're not showing any prisoners, they're not showing any moving people around. So I mean, you find you got an abandoned airport, and you put a bunch of trailers on it, and go, hey, look, this is what we're doing. You know, it's very well the possibility of, you know, of that. Absolutely. Elizabeth Warren actually had some Elizabeth Warren was controlling I did hear that too. X&T controlled the auto pen. There was several of them that it was there. Which is, you know, which the auto pen, of course, is legal to use, but for how many things that got been used for the auto pen is ridiculous. and this makes you number. And again, it's true to Reagan all over again on that part. It's, you know, Reagan had the same thing, not the same thing, but he was dimming in his later years. Like halfway through that last 4 years, you know, his wife was taking care of things. Absolutely, honeybee. Left wing, right wing, same bird. In the back of my head, I have hope. You'll hear me say this all the time, and you can go back through the shows and hear me say it. I do believe left wing, right wing, same bird. If you watch the movie Distinguished Gentleman, I think that's how it really runs in DC and in Congress. But in the back of my head, and back of my eyes, it's just there's still, I guess, the goodness in my soul is I want to have hope that there are still good people in this game that can keep us safe. And then Jamie sent us we're all watching this together. It's a cool 9/11 video. I have lots of 9/11 videos saved. Can I save this one? Yeah, I can save this one too. I probably shouldn't say I'm saving 9/11 videos on.
Oh.
There goes another person, guys. No, I'm across the street, so I have seen I saw when the building started exploding and the debris started flying, and I could see parts of what looked like to me a plane, and as it was exploding, I was afraid at our window, the debris was hitting against our window. I was afraid that part of it was going to break through, it was on fire. And yes, I was, and the entire building shook. And I'm from California, that earthquake, I look up and the window is completely filled with flames and debris. You can hear more explosions. You can hear more explosions.
Interesting. Yeah, there's the possibility that the pardons are null and void. They're gonna have to go through some legal stuff. Don't quote me on the legality of it all. I know I did read that though, honeybee. Auto pen come in a lot later. Let's see. I'm trying to remember when auto pen came in about. When? The use, I don't know, I guess it's been around a little bit longer than I thought. I thought it was some kind of thing that popped up. According to Grucky, modern pen capable of replicating signatures automatically was developed in 1942 by Robert M.D. Shazel Jr. for the U.S. Navy, and adoption spread to government use, including the White House, by the 1950s. President Harry S. Truman is one of the earliest known users, reportedly employing it for checks and routine correspondence. By the time of President Lyndon B. Johnson in the 1960s, AutoPen use was well established and more publicly acknowledged on machines, signing letters, photos, and other documents to manage the high volume requests. Every president since then has likely used AutoPens for similar purposes. Most notably, instances of controversy occurred in 2011 when President Barack Obama authorized the use of an AutoPen to sign a bill extending the Patriot Act while he was abroad. I did not know the AutoPen's been around that long. Interesting. It could be, Honeybee. It could have always been an AutoPen for a long, long time. Or is just the powers that be before that was just the ones who wanted it done. The handlers, I guess you'd say. It is possible. Anything is possible. Yep, absolutely, including mandatory vaccines. Before I forget, just in case it's not in there, I don't think it is. Oops. For Jason, when he able to not be on grandkid duty, throw that in there. Yeah, the next did you know AutoPen. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that AutoPen and everything on my next. Did you know? In the new studio, if you haven't seen the newest short that came out Monday, no, Honeybee, you rock and roll. Keep on blowing stuff up in there. You're good. If anybody, it's that's the cool thing about the chat. Like you're not stopping anybody else from chatting when you're typing in there. You're not holding anybody up. So you can rock and roll and say all you want to. You're adding to the content. I promise you. That's what it's about. I put it in my notes. AutoPen, did you know? That'll be out Monday. But yeah, if you haven't noticed, if you're not subscribed, for the unsubscribers on YouTube, every Monday I have shorts of just random information, that things you might not know. I've had a lot of people. That's cool too, Jason. I mean, you don't have to have video. It's all good. Whatever makes you happy. I just appreciate you want to come on. I wouldn't doubt that they do X and T. They got enough pull and swing. If ones that watched the beginning of the thing, I showed a lot of the politicians and how much donations they got. So it's for absolutely sure that it's the possibility that they might be doing it too. Let me show a couple. Let me get rid of that. I get rid of my link there. Let me show a couple kind of cool videos to balance things out a little bit, have a little fun. Stuff I've been showing on lunch. So I want to show some of the stuff from lunch shows. That way, maybe if you can get a chance to meet it, be part of the lunch show. It's what I'm trying. I don't know the rest of the week. I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get that routine, and then I might be moving stuff tomorrow. Who knows what's going on? Anything's possible. till I get settled down in the new place, it's going to be a little chaotic. But the goal is to start having like lunch show every day, at least 3 times a week. So we're gonna rock and roll. But here's some videos that we showed today at the lunch show. I tell on the brunch show, I'll be 46 next month, and I'd have climbed the hell out of this tree right here. That's a cool old tree. Find a way to hang a hammock out from under that thing. There's one right there. There's a hammock right there already. Get popped for that music. You can't play this music in Russia. Where did I get a link from the other day? It was, what country was it? I forget what it was. I was in the top 38 shows for that country. I forgot what it was. It was wild. And this is a good one here. What would you do if you're in this situation right here? Got your kitty friend down there looking at you, and then hey, these friends right there got you. You're like, what you doing in my tree, buddy? What are you doing? You're not supposed to be in my tree. This is my tree.
Most of the guys dead, I'm going to his grave.
Let me look at the chat and see what they say. It has to be Hawaii. Oh, hell no. We did talk about at lunchtime. Hey, Jamie's popping up more stuff. I'll show it, Jamie. Calm down. We did talk about Joe Rogan, and if you missed it, Bernie Sanders was on Joe Rogan, and he was holding him to the fire. It was pretty good stuff. I did not show this video. I forgot. There was one I didn't show for lunch, and I had it saved here. Speaking of that, where are we? Where do we go? Oh, we have been talking about the liver. We'll talk about that in a second.
But what about the other the other lawsuit with the conversation that they had with Kamala Harris, where they edited the answers that she had to make it look more precise?
60 Minutes, they were suing 60 Minutes.
Yes.
Is, to my mind, historically, even around for a very long time, they're not infallible. But I think you look at most objective people will say 60 Minutes has a sterling reputation for investigative journalism. Are they wrong?
But that's not investigative journalism if you change someone's answers. If you ask her
So Grandpa Kook, that's it.
question and she comes with a rambling answer that doesn't make sense, and you edit that out and insert another answer to a different question that seems more cogent.
Right, Joe, then you're walking down. You're walking down a dangerous path. Suing media has the impact of intimidating media. All right, if somebody sues you, all right, let me finish. All right.
Okay.
Somebody sues you, why not you? You could be sued tomorrow, right? Because you are doing this. You're too sympathetic to this.
Right.
And Joe, you did that, and they have a big law firm behind you. You're going to have to spend zillions of dollars defending yourself. You know what? Next time you do an interview, you say, maybe I'm not going to go in that area. Right?
No, but it's not that. It's editing things to make this deceptive editing.
Joe,
so in deceptive editing,
I don't know,
give people a different perception of who this candidate is than reality.
Right, but you got to explain.
But that's not objective journalism.
I know, but
that's campaigning for that person.
Right, but
would you agree with that?
I don't have those details. I don't know that I agree with your analysis of it. I don't know enough.
I think that's universally accepted that that's what they did.
And you got to tell me why he is suing ABC. Why are you suing Meta?
Let's just talk about the 60 Minutes one first.
But it's not just
we could go to ABC, but I'm not aware of that one either.
George Stephanopoulos said something that he didn't like. But the point is,
what did Stephanopoulos say?
I can't remember. It was I honestly don't remember. But
I think what he was saying was factually incorrect about the results of one of Trump's trials.
All right. Guess what? If I were to sue everybody who said things that were factually incorrect about me, I'd be suing people zillions of times. But Joe, what you're saying is, look, does media get it wrong sometimes? Absolutely. Should you have the most powerful person in America suing media? What is the impact of that? The impact is clearly intimidation. He wants to defund public broadcasting, NPR. Why is that? Well, because they also would run critical stories of him. This is part, in my view, without getting into any one case, it's part of a pattern that says, hey, I got the power. Don't you criticize me. You criticize me, I'm going to sue you. So it's not whether this show was right or wrong. There are shows every day they get it wrong. It's whether you respect you and other media people to do the best that you can. And if I don't like what you're doing, I'll go someplace else. But I don't like presidents suing media, and then it's, threatening to impeach judges who rule against you. Really? Is that a concern? I think it's a concern.
I agree. That's a concern. Well, my concern is when you have media organizations that are purported to be objective, and then they say things that are defamatory and factually incorrect, and they should know that before they say it. What other course does a person have other than a lawsuit? And isn't it important that you shine the light on what is a political bias?
Then
from an organization that you would hope would be objective.
Needless to say, I get attacked all the time by right-wing media, right? Every day.
Needless to say.
Needless to say. All right. I don't sue them. So you expose
they
him.
Don't say,
then he's the president of the United States.
But do they say things factually incorrect,
then he can
defamatory
get up there.
And slanderous?
If there's anybody in the world who knows how to use a microphone, his name is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump get up. You saw that program on CBS the other day? It was crap. It was wrong. And let me tell you why it was wrong.
But then they do it again and again and again.
Then you take them on.
The problem is the more people do stuff like that, if you don't have any consequences to what you're doing, you're going to continue that path. And the most people only see that. They're not like, if you're a left-wing leaning media organization and you print something that's factually incorrect, or you say something on television that's factually incorrect, your viewers who are left-leaning are most likely not going to see Trump's rebuttal in some speech that he does in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Right, but that's another problem.
Sorry about that. I'm over here trying to help Jason on here on the Rumble, so I'm typing at the same time. I hope that link went through there. I sent on Rumble. I hope that link worked. I mean, I know that's the link, the right link. Hopefully, it actually shows up. I don't know. But yeah, the comment on the chat here. Yeah, Bernie means don't sue liberal media. Absolutely. He is so full of crap. Let's see if it popped up. Come on. Get a second to load up. It's a pretty actually good back and forth. I'll show some more real quick. Well, we figured Jason figures out. Okay, cool. All right, good, Herschel. Thanks, Sweets, for pinning. I'm using the studio to chat, so I'm not sure. They're still working kinks on the studio on Rumble, so I wasn't sure if everything was going like it's supposed to go. So appreciate y'all letting me know. Because it acts a damn fool sometimes. Shout out Vigilant Fox on Twitter, because I've been using their threads lately. Here's Bernie actually talking, which surprised me.
You know, you remember there was a day where somebody actually owned General Motors or owned Ford. They're now owned by Wall Street firms. You got 3 Wall Street investment firms. BlackRock, you're familiar with BlackRock? They're
Vanguard
giant.
and State Street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Check it out on Google. They are combined, the 3 of them combined are the major stockholders.
Let me pause it real quick. What's up, Jason? I hear the video in the background.
I can't hear anything, Ricky. I don't know if you're talking right now.
Yeah, I am talking. You not hear me? You are
hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Let me give you a thumbs up here if you can see the video.
Communications. Wait,
Yeah.
I think. Okay, I forgot. I have to put it on headphones because I got external speakers hooked up, so I couldn't hear you. But now I got you.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. It's literally just little simple things with this. It's a decent program. You can actually edit, like after you get done videoing, recording, you can edit with this software too. And so it's pretty neat. I'm playing with it a little bit. What's going on? Let me go ahead and stop sharing this.
I got a few things. First, I just wanted to kind of hook up with you and get to know you because we're going to be on our show soon. And I wanted to talk about a few things. So that's pretty cool. I can just share the screen right here. Nice.
Yeah. It's
so let's take a look. So I'm sure you've all seen this on the news, right? This is the Fordo, Iran site that we supposedly bombed, right?
right.
Yeah, and I'm a huge map guy. I was in the military for a long time, and I did survey work, so I'm a map dude. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to look on Google Earth because Google Earth has a historical imagery that you can kind of basically roll back in time, you know. And I wanted to see, was there activity at this, because you're going to see vehicles parked there and buses and things like that, right?
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, I went to look for this facility. I didn't go to the other 2 that we supposedly hit, and I don't even want to get into the bunker busters because it's physically impossible what they say they do. Absolutely impossible. I mean, the dirt is not just going to, 2 things can't exist in the same space at the same time, right? So for a bunker buster to get down 60 feet or whatever, there would be a crater, and all they leave is a hole. That's just not physically possible. Anyway, so let me get to where I was going with this. So I'm looking for this thing, and what I typically do is just go on Google Maps first. Now here's Fordo, right? And this is where the facility is. Now take notice that there's towns very close by. This is with our scale here. This little bar at the bottom right is 1 mile. So you can see this is not a humongous area. So for it to be considered Fordo site, it would be somewhere in the proximity of Fordo, right? Otherwise, it would be a Kayfabe site or a Tyre site. So anyway, sorry if you hear my grandson. I'm watching him right now, and he's rambunctious.
Oh, you're good.
So I get to scrolling in here, and right now where I can see buildings. Let's go back and look at the building, and this is the proper north. There were some that were flipped, inverted, but I did find one with a north arrow on it, so I know this is oriented north. So we're looking for something that looks like this on a 45, pointing up and left. So I spent 4 hours panning through here. Nothing. This building does not exist anywhere within probably 60, 70 miles of this place. So if you look at the this flat basin here at the north of these the foothills, and if we pan out of this, you can see that all of these north to south, left to right. This thing jive. What this picture shows, it would have to be along this flat here, and I've searched all of this, can't find it. I'm not saying it don't exist. If someone can find it, show me. And then we've got this, it could exist somewhere in here, could not find it. Like I said, 4 hours. I panned all the way up to to their capital. I'm sorry, my thing's out here. This is on my laptop. It doesn't work for you. But yeah, that's something interesting that, and I got to think, anything is possible, right? What if they, let me hide this thing. What if they just bomb some set up mock location, like say in Utah or Nevada, and said that we bombed them, so then we could shoot rockets at ourselves and shoot them down to escalate this?
It's for sure, like you said, anything is possible, and it absolutely is the whole the whole showed it at the very beginning was like, Trump was talking about, like, yeah, they told us it's going to be at 1:00, so we pulled all the troops out, and then all we left was the gunners, and that's what they call them. And you turn around, and they shot the missiles down. It's like,
so that's another thing.
That's crazy sounding.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was stationed in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan and Kuwait 2 times. I've been down there, and Kuwait was one of the places they supposedly evacuated. Ali Salim and Arif Jan. Arif Jan's kind of where everybody kind of stays. Ali Salim is the air hub where people come in and out of the region. There is no way logistically possible that they could have evacuated those people out of those 2 areas in that allotted time. Number one, they don't have the transport. It takes months of organization to get one battalion out of there. So the whole thing stinks of a bunch of nonsense to me. Where would they go? Where did they go? Where did they house them? What transportation did they use? Did they have enough fuel on hand? It's I think the whole thing is a wag the dog situation, in my personal opinion. I do think that Iran and Israel are lobbing missiles at each other. I think that that's for real. But as far as the U.S. involvement, I don't think that we did anything to them and they did anything to us. That's my personal opinion. Or at least the story doesn't add up,
Yeah, the story don't add up at all. It really don't. It like and hearing that, like, yeah, unless unless they have been, planning for months and months logistically. Israel was talking, they've been working on this for years, for them to do the strike that they did. So all this could be, for sure, been being planned for a long, long time, and it's just a long-term goal. And maybe this is, with this NATO and all this, with this, everybody's at NATO right now and talking and trying to bring, like, everybody's trying to come together and stuff. Maybe it is a bunch of,
that's been floated
BS.
by me as well by some of my colleagues. They say that this could be all a master grand playbook, and everyone's really on the same team, and they don't care who gets killed. And that brings us to what end, right? So here we go. Let's move on to what Israel is doing next. This is the link I dropped. The Abraham Shield. And I don't know if you know who Mary Ellen Moore is from Free Mind Films.
Name sounds
do you know
familiar.
Chris Emery?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'm bad
Chris
with
Emery
names.
Well, he did the A Noble Eye, which is on Oklahoma City, and they did another couple. They did one called Shadow Ring, which is kind of like the whole. Yeah, it's great. Go to freemindfilms.com and watch their stuff. It's really good documentaries. They actually have another one. Last time I talked to Chris, we had him on. They were working on something. I don't know what it is. He said NDA. They couldn't tell me what it was, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be chemtrails or maybe, I don't know, global surveillance. I'm not sure. But anyway, so Mary Ellen Moore today sent me this on my phone, and the Abraham Shield. This is something I never heard of. Check out what their plans are. There's a couple key things in here I just want to point. We want a ceasefire. We know Israel can't keep a ceasefire. Here it is. Israel will work with its regional and international partners to establish a technocratic transitional government in Gaza with regional backing that will provide all civilian services to the Palestinians through the transition period. So they're basically wanting to install a technocracy. And when they talk about their regional allies, so Iran, they're Persian, and the other people in the area are Arab, right? Arab.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the more moderate Arabs, they're trying to get on board to make a coalition, if you will, and strengthen the defense of, the position of Israel. But when they take Gaza over, right, they want to push everybody out, install a technocracy, and then you go down a little further. And here we go. We got Arab police forces. So basically, they're getting someone else to do their work for them again, to establish law and order during the transition period. This sounds so much like Germany, Hitler time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find the other part where there's cashless. Here we go. Cash in Gaza Strip will be abolished. Zero cash and an advanced mechanism of monetary supervision will be implemented. And it goes on about this big stuff. And it smells eerily familiar to what they were talking about with that video of what Ukraine would look like after it had been destroyed, burnt to the ground. It was going to be some cashless, futuristic society, universal basic income, all this other stuff. And that's where this, and I think that's why the United States is backing both of these nations, because this is where the United States is trying to go. We're trying to get to a technocracy. Doge, I believe that's what Doge was all about. It didn't work because Elon and Trump had their little tiff or whatever. Plus Doge, I think Elon got in on Doge to cover for his own fraud. I mean, billions, I think it's 38 billion or more has been funneled to him through various, like say NASA. His SpaceX gets paid by NASA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would they do that? Why would the government need a second agency? Because there's no FOIA request you can do, so they could do whatever they want. It's like it's like money laundering. And who knows what Elon's throwing up there in space? You think it's for you? You think it's for Starlink? You think NASA's paying Elon to put Starlink up so you can have internet out in the country? Heck no. I'm sorry if my mic is low. Hopefully it's not.
It's not bad. I can hear you good.
Okay, good. I'm on my laptop.
It breaks up air once a blue moon, but most of the time I can hear you clearly, and it's for sure you can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we need to pay attention to what's going on here. Know what's going on there, because it's going to come here. And speaking of the Starlink, if we go into a technocracy here in the United States, there would need to be a handful of things you have to have. Number one, you've got to have the data processing. You got to have the data storage. You've got to have the power to run these facilities, and you've got to have the interconnectivity, because it's going to be a cloud-based where they're all talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it cannot be on our grid. It has to be on a separate grid that can't be taken out. So I want to show you where we're sitting right now.
So they're opening that nuclear power plant back up for AI and stuff, so they could be using.
No, they're going to have their own. I'm going to show you that in a minute.
All right.
So this is our current Starlink network. Elon anticipates, I don't have the article up, but Elon anticipates having 100% of the globe covered by September of this year, which means no square inch of the earth will be without the ability to communicate to it via Starlink. These things are remarkably close to the earth, by the way. If we take a look, like I'll go to the GPS, you can see how far out the GPS is. There's our GPS in comparison. So we're also getting microwaved, right? We're getting cooked. And I know you know about that, Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your network is in place. So that's part one of a technocracy. You also have to have the surveillance, but we already know about that with flock cameras and stuff like that. And I'm going to be talking to Mary Ellen Moore this weekend about that. She travels a lot, and she's got a lot to say on that, what she's seen happen just in the last few years alone. So then we'll take a look at our data centers. These are the data centers. The data centers. Trying to find, I don't know if it includes data and AI center because they seem to be two separate entities. Like one's a processing facility, the other's just a storage facility, which is why you need this super high speed connectivity between them, but not something that, like, say, an upset American might go cut a fiber to end it. It has to be something outside of our reach. It absolutely has to be. That's why the wireless Starlink. And then, no, that didn't be anything. Their power. I reported on this before. So they're talking about building, and they are going to do this. They're building small reactors 1 mile underground to power data centers. So that's what I want to come on and talk about is, the why of the war in Israel and the war in Ukraine is to set up a new model of civilization, technocracy, but they're already planning to roll it out here. And we know this. A Doge was all about that. It's like, let's just find inefficiencies. You know what? We don't need people to do these jobs. We can replace it with AI. I tell you what's going to happen if I get pulled over? Let's say the AI decides that I'm a threat because my show is making people become dissidents, right?
Mm-hmm.
The AI can decide that it needs to get rid of me and just put out a warrant for me for whatever. Then the cop pulls me over, and you think the cop's going to question? I don't know if anyone's ever been arrested before for a warrant. I have, and I didn't even know I had a warrant on me. It was a ticket I didn't even get that was never paid, and eventually it becomes a warrant for failure to appear in court, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cop don't want to hear nothing. There's only one time I got pulled over. It was whoever did whatever, I completely didn't match the description. I was like 6 inches shorter, wrong color hair, wrong weight, and they cleared that up on the spot. But any other time, they're not going to question nothing. They're going to tell you, shut up and get in the back of the car. This is where we've come. This is where we're going. And all the pieces are put in place to make this happen, all decision by machine. So what do you think about all that, man?
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack there for sure, but the possibilities of it is absolutely with them using maybe a question too earlier, and it made me think about when you were talking about you were talking about Gaza, because Trump was like, yeah, we're going to take over Gaza and we're going to rebuild it. We're going to do it. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Why are we taking over Gaza? And now it makes more sense as you see stuff like that coming out. And
to me, it's one of their pet projects. There's two reasons. Number one, we have to have a boogeyman because safety and security leads to tyranny, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we spent a fraction of money on like literal defense here and defending our own home with anti-ICBM countermeasures and stuff like that, detection systems, even satellites, whatever it takes to see what's coming in way ahead of time, a fraction of what we spend could do that. What we spend on just being out there in the world where we don't need to be. I've seen the waste. Afghanistan woke my eyes. It just opened me up and said, it's basically a money laundering scheme. War is a money laundering scheme to get money out of your pocket, or they print it and it comes out of your pocket via inflation, or they borrow it. But they get all this money. It gets funneled into the military industrial complex. Now we have the medical industrial complex doing the same thing. And then that money is then taken by the public-private partnerships, the contractors, things like that. They get to take their share, which is the majority, the people who build missiles, bombs, airplanes, stuff like that. But then a little bit trickles back to the politician via campaign contributions, or maybe they get stock, or maybe they get the inside intel so they can buy the stock, or maybe they get a CEO position or a board position at one of these companies. And you see it all the time. I mean, look at the medical stuff. How many people left, the government that made these medical decisions and wound up as some kind of a board member where they probably don't even go to work. They just get paid,
Absolutely. You know, you got your big three, you got BlackRock and all them that,
Yeah.
yeah, running all these companies anyway. Yeah, I think I think you might be right on the Gaza I think Gaza is a multifold, you know, they keep on talking about the 15-minute cities and stuff they want to push in. They want everybody right there together, and they want to go paperless, which they've already pushed a lot of people over there, like especially after 2020 when the whole that situation happened. Like so many companies, like, well, I'm not dealing with the cash anymore. I'm not dealing with that. And like the company I used to work for, we stopped carrying cash. Like we stopped accepting cash, and I accepted like one more time and got fussed at, you know. But I'm like, hey, y'all put that $6,000 in your bank, didn't you? You didn't give it back, so y'all leave me alone. But they, you know, they're pushing it more and more. Like I had somebody said something to me about a while back and made a comment. I was like about, you know, cashless. Man, anyone go cashless? Like I said, when's the last time you used cash? Don't you use your debit card all the time? You use your debit card, you use your credit card all the time, and they're already, or you got your tap on your phone. You don't even have to have that. You can have it on your watch. I mean, they're already, the technology is there to push it, and all they got to do is go boop and cut off the, you know, and then they can actually know, because that's the point that they want to do. They want to cut off cash, because cash you can actually track. You can't track truly. Like if I just hand you $20 for this and you give it to me, and then we turn around and I sell it to somebody else for $20 or whatever, nobody is the wiser except for the people that's involved. But if you have it on a file and you're able to use this technology, you're able to use my debit card or whatever to buy something, then they know, okay, he bought this here and he's buying this here and he's looking at this here and he's over here. And so it's the number one most valuable thing in the world is information, and that's why so many people are selling all our information all the time. It's the most valuable thing in the world. I mean, it's even beyond oil. Yeah.
Well, there's also, you know, if you go cashless, you can tax everything. You can skim off the top of everything. So if I pay my neighbor $20 to mow my grass, which I mean, it's more like $80 to $100 now, but you pay the neighbor boy, you're going to be paying tax on it. There's no under the table stuff. Also, control of what you can buy. Let's say that I bought 3 guns this month. Number one, they have that information, or a bunch of ammo. They could cut it off to where when I go purchase another box of ammo, they say, oh, I'm sorry, you're declined. And again, going back to the cop analogy, when the person, you know, if you know you have money in the bank and your debit card is declined, that person behind the counter is not going to believe you, and there's nothing they can do anyway. So if you're going to buy something, food even, and your card's declined, you're you know, tap to buy whatever, mark of the beast, whatever you're scanning to pay for your items. If it's declined, the person behind the counter don't know any better. You're not going to be able to buy what you need to buy. Or let's look at 15-minute city scenario. You're not supposed to be outside of this zone. So if I try to run, you know, you got to eat, you got to have a place to sleep. You know, money gets shut off, and then you got to go back home to your little bubble, your little pod.
Absolutely. I mean, we're already in a place as it is. Like if we try to go to the bank, you know, they already like, what do you want that money for? You know, if you turn around like, I want $5,000 out. What are you getting it out for? Because I want $5,000. Like they always, it's like you go through interrogation of how you wanted your money, and then you turn around like, you know, I did it one Christmas one year. I went to get some money out. I was like, hey, I want this much money. And they're like, well, we don't have that on hand. I was like, well, how much do you have it on hand? I want that. And they kind of looked at me crazy. You know, I'm like, well, I need money for Christmas presents. I mean, give me my money. This is my money. But we know because of the, you know, through Federal Reserve and the way the fractioning banking, they have systems going on that they only have to have like 10% on hand anyway. So if we went to the bank and went try to get our money, we're screwed. They don't even have our money.
At one point, they went to Franco. He's one of the co-hosts as well. Does his own show, Angry Tiger. he was telling me, and he's kind of our financial guy. He said that, and it might have been during COVID or even before COVID, they went to a no reserve required. And then check this out. This blew my mind. So my stepson was trying to buy a house out here in Missouri. And he had a car note. It was like $21,000 or something on a Jeep. He way overpaid for it. It was a predatory loan. It was like a 6-year loan. He was going to end up paying like another 10 grand on it. So I said, look, we will pay your car off. And he needed to get that paid off to get approved for his house because he had too much debt. So what I did was I took some of our savings and I put it in a, what was like a CD or something like that. So it's kind of like they're holding it. So the money's still there. And then I make payments on that. I'm basically becoming my own bank, but they get a tiny, tiny bit of interest on it. So it's a very safe loan for them. The thing is, then they turned around and gave the money to the people he owed for the car. And I said, wait a minute. So here's, roughly around 20 grand that's still in the bank. That's still my money I'm borrowing against. And you just sent another 20 grand to this company. That money just came out of thin air. Boom. And that happens all the time. And it happens millions of times, probably millions of times a day. That's why we're in the state that we're in right now. They don't even need to print money at a press. They just create it with a computer. And if you don't have to have reserves, it works because it's all just, it doesn't work. It causes inflation, but you don't have to prove that you have it. Kind of like Fort Knox. Prove me that there's gold there,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was crazy. When I saw that, like, I finally understood what my buddy Franco talks about when he says they create money out of thin air. They absolutely did. 20 grand just out of nowhere because it's here. How can it be there? Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's wild. It's been going on for a long time. That's how the banking's been going. I did not know about it actually went down to zero. I haven't been.
I don't know that for a fact. I was just that's been about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We were talking about it because I was talking about the 10%, and he corrected me. And he knows his finances way better than me. I could barely scratch the surface on how it works, and it just makes me disgusted. Because what they're doing is they're taking money from everybody collectively. It's a hidden tax. Inflation, creation of money is inflation, and that's a hidden tax because if I earned $1,000 this month, but then next month it only buys me $500 worth of goods, that means they just stole $500 of my savings. Where did my time go that I spent earning that? And that's what they're doing, but they're doing it across the board to everybody. Well, not for the rich, because the rich don't keep their money in cash. They keep it in assets, which increase in value as inflation increases. So property, even yachts, airplanes, things that are going to cost twice as much down the road, that's where their money is sunk. Precious metals is one. That's what I do. I do a lot of precious metals. I've got firearms. I've got food. Try to diversify on the hedging against the inflation. It's really a tax on everybody, upper middle class and below. Inflation is.
Yeah, they just are super rich. They just, they do have them assets, and then they turn around if they need some money for something, they get a loan against it, and then they pay it off. It's wild how they're able to do that. I watched a video years ago on a YouTube channel, Storm Clouds Gathering, probably like 14, 15 years ago, something like that. He doesn't produce any videos anymore, but he bought him a big bunch of land down in South America, and he just got away. He's done. He was tired of it all. But there are some, if you look up his channel, there's some really good videos on that. And he was talking about the petrodollar, and then also how the actual dollar works, and how we get value of the dollar with is by oil, and that's why, we've had so many regime changes up through the nations, and Syria and Libya and all because they wanted to go away from the dollar, and we couldn't have that. You got to use our dollar. You had to give us real things for our fake dollars that we just typed in the keyboard and gave it to you. It's
Now, if I did that, it's called counterfeit.
Right.
Yeah. So, but they can do it. They can create it out of thin air. No big deal. there's a lot of other tricks that the rich use. I went through a pretty good class. We had a good instructor when I was getting out of the military a couple years ago. I was retiring, and they had what was it called? Something about starting business. I forget what the name of the program was, but you have to go through certain programs when you get out, because we always have these veterans that get out and don't know what to do, and they wind up homeless and jobless. So they make you go through all these classes, and one of them was about starting your own business. And this guy was amazingly brilliant with money. He owned his own couple businesses, and he lived in an upscale neighborhood that he couldn't really afford because he wanted his kids to go to a nice school. And he was talking to some rich dude. I think it was a lawyer or something like that at one of his daughter's soccer games. And he's like, I can't stand this. He's like, this year they want the red Nikes for their uniforms, and they're like $300. You have to have the exact, how it is when you have kids, and the school makes you have a particular uniform for sports, and the girls were in like 2 or 3 sports each. And anyway, the lawyer says to him, he says, you're doing it wrong, man. He says, you can put so much money a year into a trust, and then you can buy school supplies, uniforms, all this other stuff through that trust, and it's tax-free. So that's what these rich people do. If they do have cash, it's in some type of trust for some type of reason, and then they can write that off on their taxes. Because it's basically kind of like if you were to itemize everything that you had to buy, that you could say, okay, I shouldn't pay tax on this money because I had to spend it on this or that or the other. So it's not like money that I was able to save. It's like doing that in one lump thing, but you really got to have a lawyer to handle that for you. So I guess you have to be wealthy enough to afford a lawyer on retainer. And then there's also gifting. You can gift up to it's however many millions. Like everyone in the United States is allowed to receive X amount of millions of dollars over their life in gift money, which is tax-free. So not only is it tax-free for you, whoever donated it to you can write it off. And so they're pretty much paying negative taxes at the end of the year if they do it right. And so he was talking about, hey, if you got like a couple cousins and whatnot that, you want to start a business, get them to gift you the money if they trust you. They can write it off on their taxes, and then you could pay them back later. And then you get the money to start your business. A lot of great strategies out there that we don't know about. So, again, going back to the rich don't get taxed, right? They don't get taxed through inflation. They don't get taxed through regular taxation. They skate on all of it. So it comes out of our pockets.
Absolutely. That's what, hey, when, if you remember when Trump and Hillary were debating, and he said it, they were like, said something about tax breaks. Like, yeah, I use them. And just like Warren Buffett and George Soros and all her donors do the same thing. But they're not going to change anything because that's how they make their money. They're not going to do that.
Here's an interesting thing. Remember when Obama's chef was paddleboarding behind his little, where's that? His forget what island that is, where his big mansion is now. It's escaping me. But anyway, his chef was found dead. He didn't work for Obama anymore, but he was found dead right behind their house in the water on a paddleboard in relatively shallow water, right? I went and looked that house up because, they had a bunch of aerial photos on Fox News. Again, like I said, I'm good with maps, so I found the house. I found the house pretty easy. Anyway, I looked it up, and this house was reduced in price by, I don't know, $5 or $6 million. So all the properties in the area, I went to Zillow and a couple other places, realtor.com and stuff, and I was looking at the price increase over the years, and that one particular residence dropped in price significantly by like a third, and then Obama bought it. Now, what does that mean? He's assessed on his taxes. I know they assess it on what they deem it's worth. Your county does, but also it's based on what you paid for it initially. So that's the kind of inside baseball these people get. They can work out how to avoid any taxes whatsoever by manipulating prices of things. And I'm sure that was some kind of a drug deal that happened when he was in office. He probably did somebody a favor and was able to get that price reduced. But and then he could turn around and sell it and make, even if he did pay the taxes on it, he's going to make millions and millions of dollars,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even if he did pay the price, he just you know, he paid the taxes off of the smaller price, and he threw him a little bone here, a little cash, or a couple bricks of cocaine. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, right. No, that was left in the White House for Biden.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's pretty much all I had. I wanted to share that new info that Mary Ellen Moore sent me and kind of tie it all together. I think our involvement, so similar to how we do, starting with Event 201 all the way up. They got a new one, by the way. We just covered, I think, last week. So we all know about what was the one? We had Event 201, had these different tabletop germ exercises every year. And then the last one they did was Catastrophic Contagion, which was after the COVID thing. And what came out of that was the WHO pandemic treaty, which we didn't wind up in. So that's one good thing Trump did, was he pulled us out of that. I'm not going to high five him or nothing, though. But anyway, there's a new one coming out. I don't know what it is offhand. I'd have to go back and look. But the same way we tabletop these things and then execute, that's my opinion. Like how do they get it right? How does government get everything wrong? But every time they do a germ game, they just happen to get it right. And that's the next germ that comes out. Right. And they already have the shots made. They already have the protocols put in place for that particular disease. They should go to Vegas, right, and play roulette. No, I think that they tabletop it, then they execute it. They have the solution in mind. Then they figure out, how do we get people to want the solution? Then they create the problem. Then we take the solution. So I think that when we're looking at Israel and then Ukraine, I think that this is the tabletop for them to play around somewhere else. And there's other things, like I said, multifaceted. People are making money. All kinds of things are happening, but they're going to install something as a practice before it comes here. But they're already putting in, again, the solution. The solution is already being put in place right now with the flock camera systems all over the freaking US. I mean, the flock camera systems, I'll tell you this. I was reading a story, and I talked about it, I think, last week or the week before. They brag on how they're great for your safety, security, solving crimes. They talked about a killer that went across 3 or 4 states, and they were able to track him with the flock camera system. That tells me right now that all of these individual cities that have their individual systems in place, they're actually interconnected and tied together if they're able to do that. Also, they say that these things don't keep the data. Kind of like when you go into the airport and it takes your picture of your face. Oh, we don't keep that, but for 48 hours and then it goes away. No, that's not the case, because they were able to solve the crime after. However, when you look at the flock system, so that was their selling point, basically. Their selling point is that we solved this crime with it. So you need to have this in every city. But if you take a look at the Cybertruck that exploded in Vegas, and then that other truck in New Orleans, both of those cities were flock cities. Did you ever get a clear image of the drivers of either one of those from like a governmental camera? No, it was from like Ring cameras and private CCTVs. So yeah, those cameras are not going in there for your safety and security. It's a promise of safety and security to roll out tyranny. And I don't even know where I was going with all that. I'm just saying they're basically putting all the pieces in place. And then they're going to create a massive problem. I think it's going to be a false flag. We've let all these people in the country illegally, and I don't want to get into illegal immigration. I have mixed feelings on that. I think that we asked these people to come here and we paid for it. So deporting them is kind of, I'm getting into it, ain't I? Deporting them is kind of like a slap in the face. That's kind of like me asking you over to my house to have meatloaf with my family. And then when you walk in the door, I call the cops for trespassing. That's kind of my take on it. We should have never done it. We shouldn't have paid for it. Now, some people come over here illegally to work. Some people come over to sell drugs. But a lot of these people came over, the ones that we're worried about being from, not south of the border, like, South American nations with drugs and stuff. The ones that come from the Middle East and whatnot, those are the people we asked to come over. And those are the ones that they're going to blame on any false flag.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's going to create the boogeyman,
Yeah, I think this has been building for a long, long time. I remember hearing things. I've told it on my show and others, like, like after 9/11 is when I started going down a rabbit hole and started looking and asking questions, because it didn't add up. When we went to Iraq instead of Afghanistan, like, wait a minute, why did we go to Iraq? And they're like, well, we need to go finish over there. Like, man, the guy that supposedly just did this is in Afghanistan. Why did we go in Iraq? And then you start looking, and you got building. Then you see building 7 fell without being hit. And then you see building 6 with a big old hole blown in the center of the damn thing. And then you just see so many holes. And I think it's what I would heard somebody say a long time ago, and I don't remember who it was, but it was, they were behind. All this has been planned, and it's pre-planned for years, but they were behind schedule. So 9/11 actually, using the Patriot, turned everything up by 20 and got everything back on schedule. And absolutely, this is, they use other areas and they test stuff. They've been doing it for forever. They've tested everything on people. I mean, you can go look and declassify projects and stuff of what they went to, that where they spraying stuff on certain people to see what it'll do. And so it's all this is pretty. At the beginning of the day, I still have hope. Like, hey, we got hope for good, but it really does look like it's all this has been pre-planned all the way up. We keep seeing little things like like what Trump's done this year, and me and Dave and Jamie were before he won, and right after he won, I was like, all right, we're going to hold it to, like, now if it hits July, summer, and shit looks sideways, we know it was bullshit. And there's been stuff like that. It's been, okay, cool. This is great. This is good. What the fuck is that? Well, this is good. This is, what is that? It's been like that the whole time. It's like, why are you messing with that? Why are you messing with it? And it's just okay, because they're dropping these little pieces on us over and over again, and they're actually getting everything lined up. I am concerned. I put it on the show a few times. I am concerned. We got, right now we got, it's for almost 4th of July. I got holidays coming up. It's that time of year. Will they do that? I hope to God not. I'm still going to go out and enjoy my holiday, and I think I'm going to go camping too that weekend after I spend time with my parents and family. But
you're in Tennessee, aren't you?
Yeah, just south of it. Yeah, we always say Memphis, and I ain't got my Memphis Made Me shirt on today, but that's where I was born. I was born in Memphis, but I'm right there in North Mississippi now. But but I'll just say it's so easy to say Memphis. I've been doing it for all my life. Like, where are you from? I'm from Memphis. It's just easy. I've done it for almost 46 years now.
I'll give you a timeline. So I was talking with oh God, who was I talking to? Oh, it was Wayne McCroy from the Alchemical Alchemical Tech Revolution. I don't know if you know him or not. He's got a pretty good podcast. He gets really into the weeds on tech stuff, also esoteric stuff and all kinds of crazy stuff. But he was on with us last week, and we were talking offline, and he says there's a rumor going around. There's going to be on the July 4th weekend, this coming July 4th here in a week or two, that there's going to be some kind of a biological attack and so many 100,000 people are going to die. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think and it's going to be a false flag. I think that's going to be to make people look kooky. That's probably been put out there. If something's going to happen, I don't think it's going to happen until after September when Starlink is completed. And then there's also, I was looking into those nuclear reactors they're putting a mile underground. Those are not supposed to be completed till 2029, just in time for 2030, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I just think that 2030 seems to be the mark where they want the entire system in place, up and running. And then after that, maybe our freedom cities, 15-minute freedom cities.
I agree. That's what it seems like. They said 20, during the election, they're like Project 2025. Like, it ain't Project 2025, whatever. That's bullshit. It's 2030. What everything I've seen of everybody that I've heard is that is the year that is the end goal for this situation for them.
All roads lead to 2030. All of them do. Even the Army. The Army has their Army of 2030. I was sitting in on some briefings. I can't talk about it because they're classified. I'm sure some of the stuff's declassified, but I don't know what is and what isn't. But I'll just tell you that the common knowledge people know. Autonomous drone swarms, weaponized. They're just now, and I was the only one to stand up and go against this. It was a full bird colonel giving the briefing, and my bosses looked at me like I was crazy when I stood up and, kind of countered the guy because he wanted questions, right? He said, "What do you think about the machine making the decision, the kill decision?" And I said, "I don't think that's a good idea." And this is going to be sold again as safety for the troops, because our troops could be here in Nevada or Fort Carson or something in a room with a bunch of computers and controlling these drones. So that's, they're going to sell it. We won't send soldiers to war to die anymore. We'll send these robots out there. And then then we wind up building an army that can easily be brought back home and used to corral us and hurt us and keep us out of the no-go zones. One of the things that I was looking at is one of the technologies that are really focused, super hyper focused on, is EMF detection. And I'm like, why? Why EMF detection? Oh, because if Ricky's out there camping out in the woods and has a cell phone or a pocket radio, they want to be able to pinpoint him where he's hiding. That's the only reason for that. All things are not looking good, man. They're not looking good. Another thing, you were talking about them having to catch up, and 9/11 kind of got us back on track, or got them back on track with their their milestones. I was reading last year, maybe a year and a half ago, it was either at the Davos website or the World Economic Forum website. I actually came across their timeline for certain milestones, and they were behind on every agenda, every single agenda. So what happens next? They had their little meeting, and they said the number one thing was misinformation, disinformation. That was what's her name? What? I don't know her name. Evil lady. But anyway, they said that, but then they also focused on AI. Now with AI, because they got to convince the people to go along, and they used to do this with think tanks, right? Now they don't need to. They can have AI gather all of your social media, everything about you, where you go, what you buy, what you do, and figure out how they could persuade you, and use bots. And this happened in, was it the Philippines? I think it was. They actually had a bunch of AI bots that actually turned the election, because they were able to, through social media, sway young people. I think it was the Philippines. I just heard about this the other day. But yeah, they can really ramp up. That's why they're focused on AI so hard right now, because they can ramp up and catch up to where they want to be by manipulating people. We all have a digital twin at this point. Another thing, they need to, like you and I, we probably have multiple accounts, some of them anonymous. Have you noticed lately 2 and 3 factor authentication? You've got to tie this email to that email. They want your phone number. I log in. I have a Roku here that my grandson watches down here in the shop that has YouTube. He watches grass cutting videos. Now, every time I turn it on, it used to be it would just come on YouTube and I could search for something. That's it. Now it wants me to log in. It wants me to scan it with my phone. It wants to tie everything that they don't know about you together into one big picture. That gets us to Internet ID, who you are, what devices do you use, what accounts do you have, and then they can start gleaning from there and say what your ideology is. How do they censor you? How do they slow your traffic down if you're someone they don't like? How do they promote you if you're somebody they do like? We see this on Twitter already. So it's very multifaceted. There's a lot of angles to it. The AI is a huge factor, because this is too much for one human being to wrap their mind around. And you're talking about millions and millions of people to try to figure out, right? Up to this point, we've just done it by demographics. Now they're trying to do it by individual person. And that's going to require AI and massive amounts of data. What else do you need that stuff for? Why so much AI and data? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, while you're talking, I'm over here like typing out little notes for I won't forget, because my brain's squirrels sometimes. But you know, like when you're talking about the YouTube, you know, a couple of years ago, they turn around and used to be able to, like, you play stuff, and like you said, you'd have to be signed in. But even if you were signed in, you could. I didn't have my history showing at all. I had it blocked, but it was just, you know, thinking that I'm protecting myself. Really, you know, they could really see what I was watching anyway. But my history was blocked, and then they turn around like, "Well, we're not going to show you anything. You're not going to let you see any videos. You have to let us see your history, or you won't be able to see any kind of ideas of what even to watch anything. You just had to look up, literally just look up a video, and you know, and they did that, and you know, and then Facebook, they did the bots, and they turned around and they sent the algorithm. They manipulated the algorithm. Certain people got positive posts, some people got negative posts, and to see what they were going to do. And the people that got positive posts posted more positive stuff. The ones that got negative, that posted negative stuff. And I mean, they've been manipulating us for so long. It kind of it makes me wonder, like, if these SOBs, are they, because if you get that Illuminati card game come out years ago, I wonder, are they really playing this thing? Is this what this is? Are they playing this damn card game with us? Because, like, if you go back and look at the pieces, and you look at the cards that came back in '91, and you see it looks so much like what's going on, and what is the possibilities that are going on. Some of them, they even look like some of the people, you know, they got one, it looks like Trump, and that came out all the way back then. You know, you got the cards are showing like what's going on right now. It is so wild and the powerful. It um, it don't it really seems that way. Um, and on the backtrack on the positive, like, you know, they come out with, like, Google came out with that Willow, uh, for, you know, processing, you know, so it could supposedly get processed so much faster than anything that, you know, the things would take 2 million years, it could do in like 15 minutes. And that's the reason they did it. I think is for, like, all this data that they're shoving at it, all of our information, all this stuff, so they can. I agree. I think that the possibility for sure is very positive, that there's what their goal is, to so they can know who to point at, who they needed to round up, who they need to silence. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, and then they for sure, like, you put, I post videos all the time, you know, and I don't have a big platform, I don't have a huge platform, but it's amazing. Like, if I turn around, like, I post a video on the USS Liberty twice, and I got like 4 views off the damn thing twice. It's like, my last video got, you know, 80, 100 views, or I get, you know, 500 views for this short or whatever, but I get 4 views. I'm like, that's
So
amazing.
check this out, Ricky. Check this out. I actually showed this. I did a real short video. I don't know if it's still up or not, but I just happened to notice one day I was on Rumble, and we like Rumble because Rumble doesn't ban us. However, Rumble still plays with our numbers. So I never get in the stack of the suggested or the editor's picks or anything like that. Which, you know, it's fair enough. I'm not a big podcast. You know, I don't have 10,000 followers or anything, but I'm sitting there. I was getting ready to set up for a show, and I go into Rumble, and it has the thing on the right where it shows, hey, view this, view this. You know, half those people, I've never seen them. I don't know who they are. I understand that they're going to be pushed because they're very large podcasters, but the third in the list was a guy with 1 view, and his video was a year old, and it was only like a 6-minute video. He was the third in the list. So I don't know if he paid for that, or if whatever he had to say was something they wanted to get out. But take a look at that. Everyone just take a look at that when you go into YouTube or wherever you go to view videos. Look at the suggested and see if it makes any sense to you. You know, people like Rogan and Carlson Tucker, those guys, of course, they're going to be pushed. They probably are paying for the premium services and stuff, but you're going to catch one or twosies here and there that there's no reason they should be in that stack over someone like Ricky or myself, that do get a decent amount of views. And we do shows. A lot of it has to do with how frequently you do shows as well. So I don't know. It was something interesting I caught, and I keep seeing it over and over again. And also to talk on the YouTube thing. So I got banned from YouTube for life for reading documents that I had on screen and had the words highlighted. I'd PDF'd them and highlighted them, Pfizer documents. And I got banned for life for mis and disinformation that was dangerous, medical, dangerous for medical. And they banned me for life. And what they did was they struck the one video, and then they retroactively went through all of my videos for the year prior and gave me 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out for good. Now, what that is, this is very concerning. So screw YouTube. I won't go there. But I was still logged into that Google account. Almost every single website was broken that I went to, because every single website now has some form of Google code in there. So it would like continually try to load, and it would not load, and then it would time out. So that's how integrated everything is. And also turning off your search history or your view history. I've got another completely separate account. I started a music account on there, and I was just uploading, because I already done about a dozen songs or so, and I was just uploading them. And it said that you've reached your maximum uploads for the day. It was like 3 that I'd done, right? 3 or maybe 4. And it says you can get past this by supplying us your phone number or turning on your search history and developing a history with us. So no complaints, no violations, no nothing, but they're going to limit what you can do. This is how dangerous it's getting with all this stuff being tied together. And Google is at the heart of it. Google is part of everything.
Absolutely. I mean, if we even try to use a different platform or something, it's bad. Like what this platform, like Riverside, I had to use either Edge or Google. So it's like, use, hell or the pit of hell, whatever. It's the same.
Yeah.
I just rather use Chrome and to be done with it. I mean, and to mess with Edge and
I use Chrome. I have problems I use StreamYard. And if I don't use Chrome, I have problems with screen shares and audio and stuff like that. So I stick with Chrome. Seems to be a pretty decent browser. I use Brave for my screen share, because Brave lets me group tabs. That's kind of a pro tip for anyone who wants to get into this. If you're going to pull a bunch of stuff up on screen and share it, say you have 4 or 5 articles, I like to PDF them and go and then highlight them. And then you can just drag them into the address bar to pull your PDF up in the browser. And then you take those 5 articles, you highlight them, and you add it to a tab, and it'll squish them down. So you don't have like a million tabs open. So as you go through your topics, you could just pop open that tab. There's your 5 articles. When you're done, you close it. So yeah, I like Brave for that. I've been trying to figure out if Firefox can do it, but I haven't figured that one out yet.
It's cool. I haven't used it. I got I forget what I got over here. I got Opera on here, but I don't use it very often. But
yeah, I've used Opera. I've got Opera on my so this is, both of my computers are dual boot, so I have Linux as a backup in case my Windows crashes out on me. I can get in there and fix it. But I have Opera on the Linux, and it seems to work well. Another good thing about Brave, Brave, for some reason, I can't run it on my phone. It's too memory intensive. But on the computer, it seems fine. But Brave, you can go in, let's say the Wall Street Journal, for instance. That's one of the ones that it'll let you read like the first 10 lines of an article, and then it says you have to subscribe or whatever. You can go in there and shut off the JavaScript for that particular website, and then you can get the whole article for free. So you can get past some paywalls with Brave.
Cool.
Yeah.
I had to check that out. Yeah. Yeah, I hate that, man. You over here, like you searching something, like, okay, and then you not paying attention. You click the link and like, you got up. I use some. Man, what are you in here?
Yeah, right. It doesn't work for every site, but it works for, probably about 80% that I go to. And, for us, getting information, we don't just put, and I'm sure you're the same way. We don't just throw something into Google and then whatever it spits out, that's what we're going with. We want to check multiple sources and see what they say. And I don't want to say get a consensus, but if at all possible, I try to go to places, articles that actually provide their sources, and then you go to the root source. That's always a good way to go.
Absolutely. We always trying to push, like we've said it a bunch of times on the show, like, like if you're using search engines, try to use 3 different search engines. That way you can kind of
Yeah.
see, and don't use Google search engine unless I use it for car parts. I mean, that's about all I use it for anymore. Just
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that-
anything non-political is okay. What was the one? So I was using DuckDuckGo, but then I come to find out DuckDuckGo actually has a Google back end. It just doesn't censor out as many of the, some people are just buried, let's just say you go to the Knights of the Storm. I actually show up on Google now. But I used to not. Like, you couldn't find me anywhere. There's also a motorcycle club out there with the same name, so I'll give them that. But DuckDuckGo used to find me. Then it stopped finding me, and I realized that they had a Google backend. So crap, I can't remember the one I'm using now up on my main computer. But if I can't find it on Google, there's another one I go to. But you can do a quick search. What are your best non-Google browsers and stuff. Or not browsers, but search engines, and it'll give you a list. I wish I could remember it. I have a bad memory, Ricky. I'm telling you.
So I understand. I always joke with my students and stuff. I've been punched in the head too many times and over the years, but it's just you get the best out of me. This is it, and being kind of ADD and it's squirrel mentality, and then being punched in the head a bunch of times is just, it's not a good combination.
Yeah, you and I are birds of a feather, brother. Same thing. I probably took too many blows to the head in the Army. Fall asleep, someone smacks you in your Kevlar with their Kevlar real hard to wake you up. Yeah. Anyway, I'm probably gonna bounce out of here. Hopefully, I didn't disappoint.
No,
Together real quick,
No, I appreciate y'all, and I see the chat was still going really good, and they were commenting and everything right along with us. No, I appreciate you popping on. Just real quick, for fun fact for this program, you see how it says 99% uploaded. Like when you
I see that.
when you pop out, just make sure it says 100% for me. That way I can actually use the video.
Yeah, I'll just leave it running. I leave this computer running all the time. I found
it won't take long. It won't take long at all. Like with it 99%, it'll by the time you stop and pull out of here, and you give it probably 10 seconds or so, I imagine it'll be uploaded. But if you're like 60% now, it would take, that means your internet connection was slow and it'll take a while. But since it's 99, it won't take long.
I learned something the hard way. So I'm kind of a tech dude. My first job in the Army was communications, really geeky job. So I know a lot about EMF and microwave. I'm telling you right now, we've done a ton of shows on them, and I know my stuff. The dangers are just phenomenally bad for us, and we're just getting like saturated with it right now. That's a whole nother show to get into. But I learned the hard way in Okinawa when I was stationed there. I was stationed there for 6 years in the Army, and then got out for 5 years before I came back in the Army. I worked there as a Air Force contractor doing internet on base. And I would build a brand new computer, usually for somebody that just ended up not having the money to pay for it. It would sit on the floor, and 3 months later, it wouldn't fire up because of the humidity. So I leave my computers on, and I let them run. They'll go into like a power saving mode, but as long as there's still electricity running through a slight trickle, it's not going to let those leads. I mean, you've seen memory sticks and stuff like that, right? Where things connect. Well, those will corrode. The really nice ones have gold plated stuff. They don't corrode, but not all of them do. So if you leave your stuff on, it won't cost a lot more energy, and it'll keep your machine from getting destroyed from the humidity. And I've gone through so many machines, and ever since I started just leaving them on, the monitors turn off and all that stuff, but the basic motherboard and stuff stays on. I haven't lost a machine to humidity since, and I'm in Missouri now, so I just leave this laptop running all the time down here in the shop.
That's cool. Yeah, that's what I usually do too. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Just a fun fact: my grandfather, he was stationed in Okinawa, going back in the 70s.
Was he Marine?
He was Army.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
And he
Torrey Station or Fort Buckner? Do you know where he was?
I'd have to ask my aunt.
There's only
I could get back with you because my aunt was over there with them when they were stationed there. My aunt Barbara and Uncle Robert were there with them, and they brought back this huge. I have it at the house now. Big TV thing. It's huge and monstrous with night end tables and a coffee table, and it's all engraved. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
And it was all from Okinawa. They were when they both passed away. My parents said, just take it to Goodwill. I'm like, man, I ain't taking this to Goodwill. That ain't happening.
Heck
So,
no.
but that's pretty cool. Yeah. I'd have to ask. I'll try to remember to ask my aunt that way. If when I do get able to come on your show, and I can let you know, because they were sure there back in 77, I think, something like that. And my grandfather was in the computers too. He was actually he served 30 years and got out and went back in, and he did another 10, but he was all in technology and stuff like that. He worked on them computers with the rooms and stuff. And
I wonder if he worked at Fort Buckner. That's where I worked. Because you have Torrey Station, which is you got a first of the first Special Forces out of there and a bunch of support stuff. And then there's another small logistics thing. My uncle actually was stationed there almost the same time I was. He retired out of there. Actually, they lived there after he retired for quite a while, till their daughter got through high school. But the other place is Fort Buckner, which is kind of a little corner of Camp Foster. It's known for the 3 golf balls. That's the radomes over the satellite dishes that, looks kind of like a Doppler radar cover. And then there's a Space Command there. That's where I worked. And that's where all the computer geeky stuff is. So that would be interesting if he worked at the same place, and if we were there at the same time. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, he went served in did Korea. He did a tour in Korea, and then two terms in whatever. My brain's shutting down. In Vietnam, got a couple Purple Hearts and sprayed with Agent Orange for his troubles, but yeah, that's kind of cool though. That would be cool if y'all were there at the same time.
Yeah, probably not, but maybe, maybe I would know someone that knew him. But anyway, I'm going to jump off here, brother. I appreciate you having me on. I'm glad I was able to come on. My wife came down and rescued me. She grabbed the grandson who was making all the noise down here. So I've already got a guest lined up for this weekend for our show, and then I'm gone for 2 weekends. And then I'll be back after that. So let's try to get you on Nights of the Storm to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I've got some great co-hosts, and they can pretty much versed in everything. So we can have great conversation.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, actually, that'd be good because my new spot, where I got the new studio and everything, I've been working on painting walls and all that. I'm getting the internet hooked up over there on July 11th, so that ought to coincide pretty close to. By the time you get back, I'll have full fiber internet over there and be in my new spot. So that sounds great, man. I appreciate you.
You're going to make me cry. We were supposed to get fiber last year. I have, basically it's an old school ADSL, and the first line I got, I couldn't podcast with. So I had to get another service where they put a double line in. So I'm barely able, my download speed's okay. I mean, it's not insufferable, but the upload speed, I can barely freaking podcast. So you got me jealous with the fiber, brother.
Yeah, that's what I got here now. I got GigaNet here, and it's nice. And then I was moving out into the country. I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. I'm absolutely screwed. And then I get out there and I looked up, I happened to the Wi-Fi thing popped up, and I'm like, fiber. I'm like, what? And I started looking around, like, oh, hot damn. I'm good. Nice. I thought I was going to get Starlink, or I didn't know what I was going to get. I was scared. I was like, man, I've been doing all this stuff to do this podcast, and then I'm going to move out here and not be able to do nothing. But so yeah, it's going to be fun. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on and spitting some facts with everybody for sure. Man, anytime you want to come on, now you see how it works using this program and stuff. So if you ever want to come back, and that link you got, it works every time.
Okay, I'll bookmark it here. And I just want to thank the chat. The chat's really kind to me. Sweets has been sharing the website for Nights of the Storm over on Rumble. I appreciate that, brother.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I
Sweets
just want
is
to say thank
awesome.
you to all and God bless.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take care.
All right.
There it goes. My mouse, yeah, my mouse is trying to die, so I had to pull the battery out for a couple seconds and redo it. I seen Mr. Duffy pop in on there on the chat. I was just letting everybody go. Appreciate you popping in. What, no 3-month wait list? It was like a 3-week wait list, Don. Which I've been actually, it's probably about a month because I've been calling them and like, hey, y'all come up there. But the problem for me was it wasn't because I had a brand new, like, where I'm moving to is, it never had an address there before. So it was trees, and I cleared the land and made the spot and put the building, and yeah. So, and then I got the permit to put the get me an address, and so all that stuff is why it's pushed longer and everything. But yeah, appreciate Jason coming on. Appreciate the chat. We'll keep going for just a second, a little bit longer. Yeah, for sure. Check out his show. Check out his channel. I know Sweets dropped it in the chat. And since we done all that, it's 11:47. And I got a mouse. Before my mouse dies again, let's do Matt Sal's favorite part of the show. I seen he said that the other day and made me feel good. All this crazy technology and chaos and everything. Let's hit some positive vibes to end out tonight. So here we go. Singing along, singing with the wind chimes. Golden retrievers, they're great. There you go. Look at this. Then he hit the kitty, but he knocked it down. Gotta love it. Like, hey, what are you doing?
没事，睡吧，宝宝，没事。
Stop it.
为啥感觉不卡粉？我是油皮。
咋他还来？
Check out this blackbird. No, buddy, we ain't done yet. Come on. We got brushing to do. Appreciate it, Master. Yeah, that's there's two sides to every story, and a lot of shows I see all the time is like they only want to show the one side. They only want to show like their agenda, and I don't. Some of them they're doing what they're told, pretty much. They're told to freaking do that. So I'd rather I'd rather show both sides of everything. Absolutely. I got to blow this picture up. This is pretty good. That's say on both sides, and there's corruption and evil on all sides. But when this kid went in here to this shelter to find him a kitty, the kitty picked him. Like, nope, you're mine. You're going home with me, or I'm going home with you. Your shirt matches me. We're gonna. That kid's so happy, dude. That's great. That's awesome. And they're doing it right. They're going to the shelter. There's so many pure blood animals at the shelter. It's sad. They get put down every year. Oh, this is fun. Your first time mom videos. Oops. You did it. You dropped her.
哎呦，哎呦，哎呀！ 录下去。
Get that baby beat up for no reason. I gotta catch her now. She's probably that mean. I come out, try to feed her outside, and she hisses at me. Then she starts talking to me. I'm like, man, the Uber drivers are getting kind of wild looking. All right, good sir. Take me home. I can't believe that gator didn't eat that cat. All right. There you go. Best buddies. He's got his thinking cat on. Doo-doo. Where's my? That ain't what I wanted. I hit the wrong button. My fault. That's sad. I gotta play with the soundbar more. This is pretty cool. I played it.
Oh my God, Randy Orton in the corner. Big Show's called here. Big Show called. And Randy Orton off and splash it. Randy Orton came. Oh, Big Show. Big Show was staring at the authority. Have a kid, Randy Orton capitalized on it. Can he cover the Big Show? What an incredible turn of events here. Big Show and Randy Orton getting right before the Oh my God.
Oops. Look at this. Palace cat. Look at the stripes. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty kitty. It looks like a huge kitty. Like a bobcat with a tail. No TikTok video for you today. We probably got more views on this TikTok video than it would have had anyhow. And a little kitty here. This is cool. No music. Made the little kitty little pillow. There you go. You can watch them little eyes just go away. 90 time. Oh, this is a funny one here. I like this one. Get away from Daddy.
No.
Come on, baby.
There goes scared.
Come on. Ow!
So stop that.
POV. May pusa kong seloso.
No, just see. Okay.
Jealous monsters. Jealous monsters. Is.
Oh gosh.
Passed out.
Go to sleep.
You don't have to use something like this. I mean, you can just use a...
Bang, wake up.
You snore like a grown man. It's pretty cool. This sea lion, this man in Chile removed a plastic wrap around the sea lion's neck. And the sea lion never forgot and visited the beach daily to interact with his human friend. Big old sea puppy. Big old sea puppy. And for the other side, this is pretty cool. Brother and sister working pads. And if you ever worked pads before, this stuff's hard. That's hard. Especially how fast it is. Being in the right spot at the right time. Uh-oh. Mouse died again. This might be on the never-ending streak. Oh, me. I don't know if I got any batteries or anything around here. One more. Oh, yeah, this cat comes up to the window every day and
a stray cat and kindly offered him some food. Big mistake, because from that moment on, the cat returned every single day, but not for a snack. Nope. He doesn't want to come inside, doesn't want to be petted. He just shows up, slaps the guy through the glass, and leaves. Like it's a job. Clock in, slap, clock out. This cat has a new daily ritual. Wake up, stretch, beat the neighbor, go about his day. Because for reasons we may never understand, this cat just enjoys beating him. This
pretty funny. Before my mouse dies again, I guess I'm gonna round it up. I appreciate y'all for sticking in, especially ones that been, what is it now? 3.5 hours. Appreciate Jason for popping in, for calling in tonight, and spreading some of his knowledge on everybody. Please, check out the Discord if you want to kind of interact more with everybody. We're trying to grow it up, and for it be a meeting place for everybody can talk and share some of these ideas. That's the positive thing, and technology and Discords and stuff like that. You can actually come in there and you can share. Please check out the website, for the merch. Check out the links. Got lots of fun shirts and everything on there. If you have an idea for a shirt, let me know. You can reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do. I'm having fun with that. Things might be a little crazy with the shows and where I'm at. We're going to work it on through here, but we're going to keep on doing these. I love the interaction. I love being able to talk with everybody, and it's cool. I get to go and now I'm be able to be on Jason Barker's show and talk with people. I've been on South Cedar Paranormal and talked with James with paranormal stuff. I've talked to there goes my mouse again. Jess on Escape to Simulation. I guess I need to pull it out a little longer than that. So many great shows. Let's see. And it's amazing. I've done a bunch of jiu-jitsu shows. And because I do the martial arts, I do train people. So I've got to do on shows like that. I've got to do shows for paranormal. I've got to do shows for conspiracies and stuff like that. A couple of years ago, if you told me I was doing this, I would never believe it. And I appreciate y'all helping me grow. Appreciate Sweets and Hiker throwing links and making sure and keeping everybody in check as the enforcers on this. But we ain't got nobody acting a fool anyway. We got a great chat. Everybody's very respectful of everybody and talking. And I sure appreciate y'all. If you hadn't checked out the latest short, check it out. I've showed it on the lunch show. We do I'm going to start doing lunch shows. We'll see how it goes. I've done one every day so far this week. We'll see about tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting. But as always, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for support. And as always, y'all keep on keeping on. And peace and chicken grease. And y'all be good.